In 2016, there was a Batman reboot known as Batman Rebirth. It did technically continue on the existing storylines, but it was supposed to be a fresh jumping on point for new readers. The writer Tom King did this run, and his general idea was, what if I give Batman everything he ever wanted, only to take it away? I hope you enjoy Batman losing everything in Batman Rebirth.
The plane was soaring through the sky, preparing to descend into Gotham. The passengers were all told to put on their seatbelts and prepare for the landing. And as it flew through the night sky, the bat signal shone brightly. Batman was standing on the GCPD roof talking to Commissioner Gordon about a recent incident, a raid on a local fort that no one should know about. Gordon informs Batman that out of the 3 missiles that were stolen, 2 were recovered. He then informs Batman that they don't know where that 3rd one is, but they do know that there is a desperate man running around Gotham with some rather big guns. And then, overhead, there's an explosion as the plane is hit by a missile. Gordon looks up. Holy, we need to get to the... And he turns around to see Batman gone already. Right. Batman wastes no time leaping off the building. Alfred, it's worse than it looks, Master Bruce. They have lost their vertical stabilizer in the hydraulic system. It's also expecting to come down in Gotham Square in 6 minutes. On a Saturday evening with those crowds, the loss of life will be exceptional. All right, put it out on Justice League comms to Hal and Clark, and then I need Duke. Batman leaps into the Batmobile, and the roar of the jets go off as he pulls out of the alley. I need an angle, Duke. Duke is Bruce's new thing that he's trying. Duke worked as a Robin in the We Are Robin gang, and with all of his Robins graduating and moving on to new missions, Batman decided that it was time to train another individual to work with him. But not a Robin, he's trying something else. Duke runs the calculations and then points Batman to a bridge with just the right angle. As he screeches the tires, spinning the car around, Alfred calls it back in to inform Batman that the League is preoccupied off-world at the moment. As Batman drives off the bridge, he informs Alfred, it's fine, Gotham is my city. As the Batmobile begins to fall into the bay, Batman hits the ejector seat button and launches himself into the sky. I'll save it, Alfred. As he roars into the sky, getting closer and closer to the aircraft, he informs Gordon of the situation and he tells him that they only have 3 minutes until it crash lands. Gordon begins to panic, asking, how do we evacuate the square in 3 minutes, Batman? But Batman assures him, it's going into the bay. I'll be pushing it there. Where are you, Batman? I'm on the plane. Oh, of course, you're on the plane. He begins to attach boosters to the bottom of each wing, and as he's doing this, Alfred is informing him that it's going to be a close call. Batman then swings back to the top of the plane and attaches a cable to the nose so that he can steer it, with Alfred congratulating him on his new Bat plane. He begins to steer the plane, twisting and turning it around the buildings. Batman has successfully saved the square and the individuals on the plane. But at this moment, Alfred informs him of the problem. With the speed of this fall, Batman will take the brunt of the entire crash, and he has no cushioning. He has no hope of surviving this. He can't leave or the plane won't hit the bay. It'll hit a building or a populated area. He has to stay on it until the very end. So he tells Alfred, there are messages prepared for the boys, and please send my regrets to Mr. Thomas. If he wants to continue his training, Dick Grayson will be a good replacement as a teacher. And then he asks, Alfred? Yes, sir. Anything, sir. Would they? Would mother and father have been proud? Is this a good death? Yes, Master Bruce. They would have been proud as I am, sir. The plane then began its descent into the bay, and at increasing speeds, it began to hit it. Rest assured, this is certainly a good death. And as the plane is about to start tearing apart, and the impact will be felt by Batman, the nose begins to lift up, and Batman asks, Clark? And instead, the plane lands softly and 2 individuals float in front of him. Batman, it's an honor and a pleasure. I am Gotham, and this is Gotham Girl. The next day at the Statue of Justice in Gotham, there's a fight with Solomon Grundy, and he's not winning. The guy, born on Monday, christened on Tuesday, married on Wednesday, took ill on Thursday. And then as he gets to that line, he grabs Gotham and he throws him into the statue, breaking it in half. Luckily, Gotham Girl flies in, catching it from falling, and Gotham flies back down to catch Grundy as he continues his rampage. Grew worse on Friday, died on Saturday, buried on Sunday. Except in a puff of smoke, Batman is sitting there prepared. As Grundy comes to him, he uses Grundy's own weight and momentum to lift him off of the ground. And that was the end of Grundy. He then drops him on his head. Gotham flies over thinking Batman, and Batman informs him that Gotham wouldn't have caught him in time before he trampled the man behind them. Do better. And then he leaves. Gotham flies over to Batman to acknowledge that he's doing this wrong. He doesn't know how to do this, and he wants Batman to train him, show him how to do it right. Batman flies back to the Batcave where he tries to figure this whole thing out. He was dead with no option to save himself until these 2 supermen arrived and saved the day. And Alfred jokes, oh no, Gotham is spiraling down into chaos again. But meanwhile, over in Gordon's office, a man walks in confessing to be the one that freed Grundy, and then he stabs himself in the neck, telling Gordon that he had no option. Gordon shines the light into the sky, and Batman arrives with Gotham and Gotham Girl, introducing them to Gordon. He then explains the dead guy and the fact that the dead guy freed Grundy, and Gotham Girl connects it to the men who fired the missile, as they have all killed themselves as well. Gordon tells him that he doesn't know anything about any of that. The man was ranting about the monster men. He then turns and he talks with Gotham and Gotham Girl, and Batman vanishes. Gordon shakes it off as Gotham and Gotham Girl are shocked and surprised. Yeah, he does that. So where did Gotham and Gotham Girl come from? Simple. There was a dark alley, and a young boy that was being walked home by his parents. A mugger arrived and pulled out his gun, and the father, being brave, decided to stand up to that man. Most of you probably know where this story goes next, but I'm here to tell you, you are wrong. As the mugger threw the boy's father down and grabbed the woman's necklace, there was a gloved hand and a punch that threw the mugger aside. Batman saved that family that day, and he told the family that an ambulance was en route. And then he told the boy, it's okay to be afraid, because it gives you a reason to fight that fear, and everyone gets a chance to be brave. The boy grew up looking up to Batman. He was the hero that the boy wanted to be, but he didn't have superpowers or tons of money. So instead, he took his sister with him, and they helped where they could. They worked in soup kitchens, and they helped the homeless while they trained their bodies and their minds. Then eventually they went overseas to perform charity work, and when they came home, they were different. They were now Gotham and Gotham Girl, taking the name of the city that required them to be brave. Batman learned this history by pretending to be FBI agent Malone, investigating what he could by questioning the boy and girl's parents. He walked outside and he took off his disguise while walking into his car. Then the car split into two, revealing the Bat Cycle and him in the Bat suit. Because Alfred just called to make him aware that the bridge nearby is collapsing as a suicide bomber has blown himself up on it. Beneath the bridge is Hank and Claire, otherwise known as Gotham and Gotham Girl, with Hank holding the bridge. Hank is struggling to hold the bridge up while Gotham Girl is trying to speed through, saving all of the people on it when Batman races up. He quickly fires off bat gadgets that attach to the cables and the bridge itself. Then the Batplane begins to fire its jets in reverse, holding the bridge up. But one individual was watching this. One individual planned all of this. One individual is able to convince people to do whatever he wants. The mastermind behind all of this, Hugo Strange. Batman jumps to the top of the bridge, waiting for Gotham and Gotham Girl to arrive, and he informs them of the plan. He'll track down the suicide bombers while they scour the city. If they find anything, they tell him. He then leaps off the side of the bridge, and Gotham Girl smiles. He let us see him leave! That's gotta mean something! And Hank smiles as well, as his hero is trusting him. Except nearby, they see a fire blazing and they decide to take off for it, only to find Hugo Strange standing there with Psycho Pirate. Batman arrives very soon after and he finds Gotham Girl cowering in the corner, telling him she's very, very scared. And he asks her, where is Gotham? Meanwhile, Gotham is on a rooftop trying to talk down a suicide bomber, but the man tells him that the monster men are coming, and he blows himself up right in front of Gotham. Batman arrives on the scene with Hank lifting a beam, telling himself, I can fix this, I can fix this. And Batman explains, you're only making it worse, as Hank throws the beam into the Batmobile. You don't know what I can do. You're right. You aren't scared like I'm scared. I thought you could save this city in a way that I never could, until I came across 27 dead bodies in a building. 27? No! Hank says, flying off. Batman grabs a hang glider out of his Batmobile while Duke transmits something weird that he found. The serial numbers on the dog tags of the dead men all add up to the same number, 24. When they looked up the number 24 in a backdoor military plan, he found that it was related to the 24th letter in the alphabet, and he found that that was the letter X. Batman knows what this means. Task Force X. Suicide Squad. He flies to the office of Amanda Waller demanding answers, and she gives them. She recruited Hugo Strange and Psycho Pirate into her team to watch over Gotham and be there when she needed them. Except Hugo Strange betrayed her and the team into using Psycho Pirate's powers to manipulate emotions. He has driven Gotham and Gotham Girl crazy. But good news, you're here to help me with this unfortunate situation, aren't you, Batman? And I'll work with you on it as long as you say please. 27 of your people are dead, and you want me to say please? Check your facts, detective. I had 28 people, and that's when Batman realizes what this means, and he rushes to find Hank. Hank killed 27 people while the 28th played dead. That man took a picture of Hank's face when he took off his mask, and then he ran the picture through a database to find Hank's parents to take his revenge. Batman showed up just in time to try and talk Hank down, telling him, it's not you, it's Psycho Pirate making you feel this way. But Hank tells him, it's too late, and he snaps the last man's neck, and then he throws Batman out of the building while he flies off. Batman calls up Alfred to let him know that Hank has gotten out of control. Psycho Pirate has given him pure anger, and because of that, he is blaming the city of Gotham for everything, and he intends to destroy it. The problem is, Batman is too far out. He can't prevent the loss of life. So one man grabs a spare Batman costume and loads up into a spare Batmobile. Well, Thomas, allow me to say what an honor it is to have been asked for you possibly to entrust me with the care of Master Bruce. Well, sir, I am humbled. But of course, the need for such care will never arise. It's not as if on some dark night you'll be shot dead by some mugger trying to steal Martha's pearls. That would be absurd. But if such unlikely circumstances were to tragically come to pass, allow me to assure you that it will not be a difficult burden to bear. Alfred keeps talking to himself as he rockets the Batmobile at a target in the center of the city. Bruce will be a simple child to care for. Easy nights, nice dinners, and perhaps a charity ball or two. Then Alfred drives the Batmobile into Gotham. He hops out of the Batmobile looking at Gotham in a bath suit, and Bruce tells him, "I'm here, run for it." So he does, as Batman kicks Gotham in the head, throwing him into the stairs nearby before blowing him up. He then throws a plane at him, and as Gotham prepares his heat vision, he fires it at Batman, but he's suddenly stopped by a green shield because the Justice League is here. Superman grabs Gotham by the shirt, telling him, "We're Batman's friends, and we'd appreciate it if you'd surrender." But Gotham isn't done as he punches Superman. You see, Gotham's powers are his to control. Each ounce of power that he uses will take moments off of his life, so he can make himself stronger than a god or weaker than a mouse. But with each use of his powers, time is taken away from him. And right now, he isn't concerned with the time that it takes away as he punches through Cyborg's chest. He then throws Aquaman down and he shatters a green construct. He then catches Flash mid-run and he uppercuts him and then flings Wonder Woman away with her own lasso. Superman flies in to bring strength to the table, but Gotham hits him so hard that he crushes the Man of Steel. And then, with the Justice League defeated, he looks at Batman again. Fine, do it! Kill Gotham, because this city is just brick and mortar. I am Gotham, kill me! But there was one person who could stop Gotham, his own sister, and she decides that it's time to stop being afraid as she swoops in. She takes Gotham into the sky, dodges a punch, and then with everything, she throws him into the ground. She has the same powers as him and could easily match Gotham's strength, and her punch killed him. She landed on the ground, holding her brother's head in her arms, telling him, "I tried. I told you to stop. I tried." Have you ever wondered what turned Bane into the man that he is today? His terrifying childhood did, and it was because of that he turned to Venom. Venom helped him with the screams. It helped him get through the memories. But now he has a new addiction, Psycho Pirate. A man with the power to make you feel an emotion so powerful that you can't break free of it. Now Psycho Pirate makes Bane feel happy. He makes him feel brave and powerful without his venom. But Psycho Pirate isn't just affecting Bane. He altered the mentality of a new hero in Gotham, Claire. Gotham Girl has been struck with perpetual fear from Psycho Pirate before Bane kidnapped him. Leaving her lost in her fear, Bruce realizes that she'll never get over the death of her parents and brother without having this wiped out finally. In order to wipe this emotion from her and allow her to be normal again, he needs to get Psycho Pirate back. And that's what he intends to do. He knows where Bane is, and he knows that he has the Psycho Pirate. But he also knows that going into Bane's fortress alone is a suicide mission. So he'll need to build his own squad of individuals to help him. And off he goes to Arkham Asylum. His first stop is to recruit the ventriloquist. Right now, Wesker doesn't have his puppet as Scarface is locked up, and Batman has a plan for him. Next, he goes to see Ben Turner, the Bronze Tiger. He's in Arkham for 2 counts of manslaughter, and after he wrestles with Batman, he agrees to help. They're old friends. The next stop is to see Julie, a woman who's in for 4 counts of murder, and then Batman takes a swing at Commissioner Gordon, knowing that it really wasn't Commissioner Gordon that had been walking with him this whole time. Because he put Julie on the list to not get to her, but to get Punch-Out, her boyfriend, and the man pretending to be Gordon right now. Punch-Out is the only man to ever escape from Bane's prison. Julie throws her arms around him, calling him Punchy, and Batman has the next of the people on his squad, as long as he promises they'll be together after this. He then walks into a private room with an Arkham attendant telling him, no, not this one, and Batman insists. He walks into a room where we find an individual all tied up with a mask on, and he removes it, inviting Catwoman to his team. She's locked up for 237 counts of murder, and she's slated for the death penalty. He might be able to get her out of the death penalty. And with that, the mission begins as Batman flies towards Bane's base of the prison of Santa Prisca. He soars in on a Batplane, and right off, the counter-aircraft are sent up to stop him. He takes a few hits and he crash lands the Batplane on the beach, where he stands in front of multiple men telling him that they are here in the name of Lord Bane! He jumps in, kicking, punching, and dodging, but literally hundreds of men come at him and they eventually overwhelm him. He's beaten and taken straight to Bane. Bane grabs him by the head, throwing him face first into the floor. You invaded my country, mocked my laws, friends. Because of that, no one is coming for you. You are alone. Alone with me. Before with the Venom, I would have bent you over my knee. Bane, I have come for Psycho Pirate. However, without the Venom, I am not strong enough to punish you in that manner. I need him to save someone. Turn him over and I'll go away. Refuse to turn him over, and I will break your back. Bane doesn't listen though as he gets on Batman's back and he bends him backwards. He throws him into a cell on the ground and he locks him up. With his back in pain, Batman gets up and he begins to punch 4 holes into the wall. Then he gets on the wall and he twists his back into the proper position and he stands up, pain gone. Then as the prison fills with water, he uses his gauntlets to break the lock and out crawls Batman. He walks to the back door and he opens it up, where Catwoman and Wesker are standing, all going according to plan. Catwoman asks him, "Now what?" "Now we break his back." He brings them back inside and he tells them that they are to separate at the tunnels. He tells Catwoman and Wesker to go down one tunnel because Punchy said that that is the cell that Pirate is in. And he reminds her, protect Wesker. Without him, no one gets out alive. Out in front of the prison, Bronze Tiger stands there with Julie and Punchy, telling the prison that he has brought back their escapees. He brings them forward where he offers them as gifts to Bane, since Punchy is the only man to ever escape Bane's prison and Julie is the reason that he left. Batman radios back to Catwoman that the other team is in position and she replies with, "I'm in position as well, Batman." Bane looks at Punchy and he smiles. And then, a whip comes out of the ceiling, wrapping around Bronze Tiger's neck. She jumps down, informing Bane that Bronze Tiger is actually lying. This is all a plan of Batman's. Tiger was supposed to distract him while she kidnapped the pirate. Bane stands up. "Catwoman, how?" She goes on to explain that Batman escaped from the prison cell and he let her in. Right now, he's up in the ceiling waiting for the word that the pirate is safe. Then he's going to jump down here with Tiger, Punchy, and Julie's help, and he's going to break Bane's back. Julie goes to tackle her, but Catwoman slices at her throat. Punchy calls out to Julie, so Catwoman cuts his throat. Then she walks forward and sits on Bane, telling him, "Now I'm going to tell you how to break the bat, all according to plan." In Batman's hiding spot, he jumps down and Bane's soldiers begin to open fire on him. He kicks, punches, and makes his moves, and he runs through the prison, dropping anyone in his path. Then, from a window on the bottom floor, he scales to the outside of the prison and makes his way to the rooftop. He glides off it, landing back in the ocean with the sharks, and he swims it back into the tunnels. He then beats down 100 more guards and continues his walk. He gets closer and closer until he walks up to Bane's throne again, with Psycho Pirate now next to him. Using Catwoman's help, they force Batman to show himself to Bane again, and Bane asks him, "What next, Batman?" While this is happening, Wesker is still standing where Catwoman left him. Bane walks off his throne and he kicks Batman down. He then picks him up, slamming him back down, and with that, Batman is laid out. Bane explains to Batman that the pirate makes him better. He has no need for venom with the pirate here, and Catwoman smirks as she watches all of this. He picks him back up. "Batman, tell me you want to be happy. Tell me you want to be brave. Tell me what you want, Batman. I want to break your damn back." While this is happening, Bronze Tiger starts crawling through the pipes in the facility. Meanwhile, Julie and Punchy sit up on a conveyor belt heading towards the furnace, and they begin talking and blowing bubbles with bubblegum. They aren't as dead as they would appear. Catwoman quietly asks, "Bat?" And Batman simply says, "Not yet," as Bane continues to beat on him. Down in the tunnels, Tiger finally makes his way to Wesker, who is waiting for him as he bursts out of the water. While this is happening, Punchy and Julie both pop out of the ocean using the bubbles that they made as air pockets. And right then, Batman tells Catwoman, "Break him." Catwoman leaps off the throne, wrapping her whip around Bane's neck and lands square in his back. He drops to the ground, realizing what just happened. Batman has broken him. Tiger and Wesker come out of the main doors and Batman tells Wesker to get the pirate while everyone else works on the escape plan. Wesker walks over to Psycho Pirate and he just sees a mild-mannered guy. He tells him, "Gods have fallen to me, and now you're scared." He tries to instill fear into Wesker, but he seems rather unfazed by this. Wesker raises his hand and suddenly Scarface begins to speak. "All right, enough of this. I'll keep quiet so we can get out of Arkham. But no one is gonna tell my top of lad what to feel. That's my job." And then Wesker knocks out the Psycho Pirate. Tiger then asks him to turn around and he knocks Wesker out. The group grabs Wesker and Pirate and they head outside where Punchy and Julie are sitting on a raft made out of those bubbles. And with everyone gone, Batman walks over to Bane, repeating one of the statements that he made to Batman earlier. "In the coming days, you're going to be tempted to leave the comfort of your home to seek out a monster. But listen to me. Before you get yourself hurt, you don't want to do it. You can stay safe for the rest of your life. All you have to remember, you're brave, you're happy, you can always stop." As Batman and the crew leaves, Bane calls out for Venom. Venom! As the night falls silent, Bruce tells Selina that it is done. Waller kept her word. The president signed off. No more death penalty. Life without parole instead. Selina pulls herself closer to Bruce, and Bruce says that they're gonna process her tonight, back at Blackgate, not Arkham, and he'll take her there tonight. Selina's lips get close to his, and she asks if he'll take her. And after saying yes, she kisses him. As she pulls away, she tries to hold back a tear. She says that she at least wants tonight. They can have her life without parole, but right here, right now, the night is like a diamond shining. She's been suspected of killing 237 individuals, which Bruce knows she didn't do. She's taking the fall for someone, though he can't prove it. So the only thing that Selina wants for her last night of freedom is him and her. He asks, "What will we do?" And he sees the bat signal shining in the sky. Moments later at the clock tower, the Clock King tells Bruce how he's been planning this night for 4 years, how tonight will be Batman's death. And as the Clock King goes on, Selina crashes through the window punching him and then turns to Bruce asking if they're done. He looks out and he sees another bat signal and he says, "Well." So the two of them go out, stopping criminals each time the signal lights up, until finally, there's no more criminals out there. But now that they have done all the things that Bruce likes to do, it's time for them to do the things that Selina likes to do. A little while later, Selina sneaks the two of them into a building holding the Victoria cat, something that was stolen 4 years ago from the Gotham Museum, and something that Bruce has been looking for ever since. Selina says that the cat is hanging by a thread, too thin to see, too thin to work on. And Bruce looks around and he mentions that this apartment is under the name Holly Robinson. Who's that? Selina plucks the cat from the string and says, "I am." She then runs past Bruce, telling him to run and jump. The two leap out of the building as the room explodes. And as they watch the fire, Selina mentions that he shouldn't worry. She owns the floors above and below, so everyone is safe. As Bruce stares at her, he asks, "Why?" She tears a hole into the cat and pulls out a small pouch. She begins to pour out a bunch of diamonds and says that when she's gone, she wants him to build an orphanage, or a dozen. She holds the diamonds out and then tosses them all around. And she says, "But first, we have to stop for a second. Stop doing what we have to do. Maybe this once, do what we'd like to do." The masks both come off, and the two of them kiss. They embrace each other passionately, and their clothing begins to get stripped away. Time passes as Bruce and Selina lay on the rooftop, talking about the first time that they met. Bruce says that it was on a boat, and Selina says that it was out on the street. Both have different stories about how they ran into each other, but there was one thing that Bruce noticed, and that was how impossibly beautiful that she was. As the two of them get up, Selina tells Bruce that she loves him, and after a few moments' hesitation, he tells her that he loves her too. They get dressed and Selina asks him what time is it, and Bruce says that it's late. As she stands up, she tells him she can see the dawn, and that's the problem with bats. They're always looking at things upside down. She turns back and tells Bruce to catch her before falling off the ledge. He runs after her, calling out to her, and as he jumps, she's nowhere to be seen. He contacts Alfred, telling him to get any information he can on Holly Robinson. This person may have information on Selina. Alfred says that he'll get any information that he can, but he assumes that she ran, and Bruce tells him, "Yeah, she ran." A short while later, a young woman sleeps in her apartment only to be woken up by the sounds of sirens going off. She shuts her window and says that everyone needs to go back to bed. And then Bruce's voice says, "Holly Robinson, where is Selina Kyle?" Before Holly has any time to react, Bruce says, "I know you and her grew up in the same orphanage and that you're her only friend. I also know that she didn't kill anyone, so I need your help in finding her." Holly waits for a moment and then she says that he's got the wrong person. She doesn't know anyone. Her name is actually Catherine. Bruce stops her, stating that he knows what she means to her and what she has done for her, but she doesn't know what she's done for him. Selina understood him. She knows who he is, and she loves him anyway. Catherine says that she has a phone that Selina gave her in case they ever needed to talk. She walks to her dresser to get the phone, and as she grabs it, she instead pulls out a knife, slashing at Bruce's throat. His body falls to the ground and blood begins to pour out. But after almost losing consciousness, he picks himself back up. He heads out and Alfred reports that he just received an alert that Catherine Ann Turley just booked a one-way ticket to Kandaq. The flight leaves in 30 minutes and he should be able to stop her. As Bruce jumps, he doesn't answer, and he falls short from the ledge that he was jumping to. His body begins to fall backwards towards the ground, but before he can land, someone catches him. Moments later, Selina holds his body, telling him he's supposed to catch her. Soon, Selina sits in Wayne Manor, telling the story about Holly. Selina used to train her and teach her the ways of how to control her anger. But after her home was burned down by them, her anger took over, and Holly Robinson killed 237 people. Selina knew that that would give Holly the death penalty, so instead she did what she had to do to protect her, and she took the blame. So now, they must do what they always do. They must protect the ones close to them. And before leaving, She tells Alfred to relay a message for Bruce when he wakes. Tell him, it was the street. I'm sure of it. Alfred says that he'll gladly tell him, but what if Master Bruce wishes to respond? Selina relays the message. There are many rooftops in this city. Surely, I will be on one of them. Once Bruce heals from his injuries, he tells Alfred that she stole it. Alfred says that he isn't really sure what Bruce is talking about. After Miss Kyle left, everything is where it should be. What was it that she stole? He begins to pull his mask on and he says, the night. She stole the night. On day 1, someone hopped over the gates into Arkham Asylum. Inside, Batman was looking at Psycho Pirate without his mask as a guard pulled a gun preparing to shoot Batman in the head. Luckily, Bronze Tiger leaped in to stop the gunman, and as the gunman smiled, Batman saw "I am Bane" written on his teeth before breaking them in and putting him down. Batman thanks Bronze Tiger for ending this, and he tells Batman, it's not over, it's far from it. Coming off of Venom is like trying to scrape at it with a rusted knife. He won't stop until he has the pirate back. Batman took Dick, Duke, Jason, and Damian to Bat Burger where he wasn't happy that they were offering to jokerize his fries. He tries to tell them to stay away from this. Bane is his problem. But all 4 boys fight against that while arguing over the toys that Damian got. Fed up with them making fun of the way that he eats a burger with a fork and knife, Bruce stands up demanding that they stay clear of this. Later that night, Batman lands on the rooftop with the bat signal to talk to Gordon. But it wasn't Gordon who shone the bat signal into the sky. Instead, it was Catwoman. Batman tells her to step away from this, get far, far away. Because Catwoman is the one who helped to break Bane. Batman knows that she is a target. Gordon runs up to arrest Catwoman and she gets away. And Gordon tells Batman that he could have stopped her, and Batman agrees. I could have. And he leaps off the roof himself. That night, Batman decides to grab Gotham Girl, Claire, and bring her to the Batcave for safekeeping. But as they enter the Batcave, she gasps as they see 3 people hanging. Damian, Dick, and Jason hung up by nooses and blood smeared on their chests stating, I am Bane. Later that night, Bronze Tiger hears someone pounding at his door. He hops out of the bed groggy as someone calls out room service. He opens the door and takes a blast to the stomach. A few more hours go by and Superman arrives at the Fortress of Solitude where he finds Batman is there already. He asks how bad. And Batman doesn't respond as he walks into the main room where he has Dick, Jason, and Damian sealed up in tubes. He explains that if they wake up, they're gonna go after Bane again, and if they do, they won't wake up again. He explains that the process of fixing Claire will take 4 days, so he has to keep everyone safe for 4 days. Superman looks at Batman. Bruce, it's me or him, no one else. Superman tells him, okay, and Batman leaves. Meanwhile, as the evening approaches, Claire is brought into a room with the Psycho Pirate, and they hold his mask over his face. They tell him to tell her that she's brave. Tell her or die, and they hold a gun to his head. Elsewhere, Selina is looking over the old orphanage from her past when a stranger walks over and opens fire on her back. Back with Gordon, a man with a gun approaches from behind as he drops his pipe. As he picks it up, he turns and shoots his gun. He drops the gunman and then he sees 2 more thugs are there to kill him. Luckily, Duke jumps in and together they drop them. They think everything's fine until the wall behind them crumbles and 2 hands reach out. That night, as Batman is perched above the asylum on the clock tower, he hears nothing but the caw of crows until a flare is lit, and on a nearby rooftop he sees Bane, with Gordon, Duke, Bronze Tiger, and Catwoman all tied up prisoners. Batman lands in front of Bane and he looks at him. My offer is this. The pirates for the cop of the boy, the tiger, and the cat. Do you accept? The rain begins to hit the back of Batman's head as he stares down Bane. No. And Bane eyeballs him. No! He reaches out for Batman. Do you know who I am? He throws Batman into the walls, watching it crumble behind him. Do you think that you can come into my home and take my life away from me? Do you think you can run away and hide in this city? Do you think you can say no to me? Do you know who I am? He begins to pummel Batman with his mighty strength. I am not a joke. I am not a riddle. I am not a bird or a cat or a penguin. He dodges as Batman tries to fight back. I am not a scarecrow, a plant, or a puppet. And then he puts a massive boot into Batman's face. I am not your broken friend or your regretful teacher. He raises up both his fists to put Batman down, and as Batman spits up blood, Bane lifts him up. I am not some rich boy playing dress up. He then throws Batman into the wall so hard that you can hear the walls cracking and breaking behind the weight. I am Bane! He grabs Batman by his shirt. Now, give me the pirate! And as he coughs up his own blood, Batman tells him, no. Bane throws him aside, and as he grabs Batman again, he looks at him with his fist clenched. This is how you die, Batman. And Batman, with blood all over his face, responds like a man who isn't giving up. Bane, shut up. Bane knocks Batman out and dials up one of his thugs on the phone. Kill the hostages. Batman won't give up the pirate. But instead of a man about to kill the people on the other end, he hears someone tell him, "I'm sorry." Bane snaps at them. "Who is this?" "Mr. Bird is currently unavailable, but I can take a message." And as she says that, Catwoman is scrawling with her nails into the man's chest. "I am Cat." Realizing his plan to force Batman into giving up the pirate is shot, Bane walks to the front door of Arkham, and with a single kick, he knocks the steel doors in. He walks in. Bane walks into the main hall and he's stopped by Two-Face. You see, Batman offered the inmates of Arkham a deal. If they stop Bane, he'll improve their stays. But on the other hand, Two-Face wants to carve out Batman's spleen. So he asks, "What are you offering for helping you instead of hindering you?" Bane looks at him and he punches him in the gut and across the face. "Pain! I offer pain!" Bane then proceeds to blow through inmate after inmate, and meanwhile, deep in Arkham, Alfred goes over the situation with Bruce. "You freed the inmates and you armed them with weapons. Take the girl and run, Master Wayne." "He killed Gotham. He broke Claire. He shot Selina. He hanged the boys. He hanged my son from a rock in a cave. I'm not running." "Madness. This is a madness." Back with Bane, he shatters Mr. Freeze's attempt, tears apart Firefly's suit, and he throws Flamingo aside. One by one, he systematically defeats each villain, telling them, "The pain was gone! I was done! I was done with this!" And Calendar Man stands in front of him. "You were never done. Neither was he. You'll never stop." He puts his fingers to his head, and he says, "Bang," before falling over. Tune in tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. In the final room, a giant steel door lays in front of him, and the Riddler walks in offering to crack it. He allows Bane entrance, telling Bane, "Say hello to Batman for me. Tell him I still remember our war of jokes and riddles. I still remember what he did." Bane walks in to find Batman standing there in front of him. Both men make a fist, and as they tighten it up, they realize that it's time to finish this. It's time for it to end. Bane looks at him. "This is the end, Batman." And with one punch, Batman is on the ground. "Do you know how many times I've heard that? Rest in peace, Batman. There's no escape, Batman. Time to die, Batman. Every night, over and over and over, for so many years. This is the end, Batman. Every damn night. And yet, I'm still here." And with that, he gets up prepared for another punch. "I'm going to kill you every damn night." Bane begins to beat down Batman, crushing his face, stomping on his back. Batman's blood dripping from Bane's gloves and mixing in with Bane's own blood, which has been spilled. But while Batman is getting beat down and destroyed, he swears he hears a voice deep down in his mind. The voice of his mother, calling for Bruce to come home, as his death is approaching. With everything happening between him and Bane, Batman knew that this was his death. It was the end, and the voice of his mother was comforting him. Then he thought of Claire, the girl that he needed to save, and he whispered it. "Yeah, I know. You're Bane, but I think you forget." And then Batman arose and headbutted Bane with everything. "I'm Batman!" Bane hit the ground in a pool of his own blood, and Batman collapsed as well, thinking about his mother's voice. For a moment, he believed that you were done. For a moment, he left himself vulnerable. After a moment, Bane finally understood that though you fall, though you want to fall, no, you need to fall, you're never done. You vowed to win a war. The girl was your war to win. So you did this, suffered all of this, for the possibility of. And then on the verge of death, he saw himself leaning on his mother's shoulder. Victory. But Batman sits up. No. And in his thoughts, in a place beyond this plane of existence, he stands. "I'm sorry, Mother, but no, that's not right. This had nothing to do with victory or winning a war. The girl needed help, so I helped her. That's all there is to it. That's all it's ever been." She stood up and she reached out for his hand. "Bruce Thomas Wayne, my little boy all grown up. You know, you don't need a good death for me to be proud of you." Batman spits his own blood out of his mouth as he stands there. "Yes, Mother, I know." Tale begins with a hockey game. The final minute of a match between the Gotham Blades and the Metropolis Mammoths. In an Arkham Asylum, a blonde-haired inmate starts to put something together in her mind. She cries out, panicking, "They're going to kill him!" She turns to her fellow inmates and she grabs her head. "Stop it! Stop it! I can't stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Can't you see? Superman won't come! Our friends will die! The Legion will die! No one will stop it! No one will save us!" And then we fade away from Saturn Girl. Deep in the Batcave, Batman stares at an enormous series of monitors, each with a view of the button, and he watches the hockey game. He twirls it between his fingers as he watches the puck hit the ground, and two of the players begin to fistfight. They have a history, the announcers say. This was in the making, the audience says. But neither man is giving up ground, and they hit each other so hard that one man hits the ground and everyone begs for him to stop. The fight is over. As they pull one man off of another, Batman turns off the television and he throws the button over to the table. The one where he's been keeping the Psycho Pirate's mask ever since he got it from the man himself. The two land next to each other, and there's a slight spark and a faint noise. Batman turns to see what's going on, and the button sends out a current of lightning that hits Batman in the chest, throwing him back. He looks up to see another Batman, a man from another time, a man from the Flashpoint event called Thomas Wayne. Thomas looks down at his son and he calls out, "Bruce?" And in response to that, Bruce reaches out, "Father?" And then Thomas Wayne fades from the vision of the Dark Knight. So he calls up a friend. "Flash, something's happened with the button. Can you come over here?" And Flash tells him that he's a bit caught up with about 37 samurais attacking him. So give him 1 minute and it'll be there. Then Batman hears the telltale crack of a speedster's lightning. "You said 1 minute, Flash. Of all people, I never expected you to be early." "Flash? No." And then the Reverse Flash punches Batman to the ground. Quite the reverse, actually. With 56 seconds until the Flash arrives, Reverse Flash begins to talk. "My name is Eobard Thawne, and I've been dead for quite some time. I should be dead for quite some more time." And then with 53 seconds left, he stomps over at the button on the ground. "But a power, it awoke me. It called out to me, for me, and I am resurrected." Batman leaps at him, but he vibrates, letting Batman hit the floor. "Oh, you wanna fight some more?" At second 47, Reverse Flash cracks Batman with a right, and then a left, and then an uppercut. At 46 seconds remaining, he throws another left and then a right. And then at 45 seconds remaining, he hits Batman across the face. With 44 seconds remaining, he grabs him. "You're still alive? How fun!" He begins to run around the Batcave, throwing Batman into the trophies and devices that he has around, until he finally comes to the letter that his father gave him from Flashpoint, with 37 seconds remaining. He tears it up with Batman calling out, "No!" And then he throws it into the air like confetti. "Oh yes!" And now we have 29 seconds remaining until the Flash arrives. Reverse Flash begins to vibrate, making it so that Batman can't do anything to him. And Batman tells him, "There's one thing I know about speedsters. To blur, you have to be touching something on the ground." And he drives a batarang into Reverse Flash's foot, pinning him there. At 22 seconds remaining, Batman gets up for round 2, punching with a right and then a left, and Reverse Flash sonic claps him into his monitors. "You have to know, you can't win!" Batman wipes the blood from his face. "Oh, I know, but I don't need to win. I just need 11 seconds. At the 10-second mark, Reverse Flash runs in, punching Batman over and over, and Batman even manages to get a shot in himself, so Reverse Flash pins him to the ground, pummeling him, and then he lifts him up. Batman looks him in the eyes. "One," and nothing happens. I guess overtime." Reverse Flash knocks Batman out and stands over him. Pathetic. He slowly walks over to the button and he picks it up, and he vanishes. He then returns moments later with a blue fire burning on him. "God!" He falls to his knees. "I saw God!" And he dies. That's when the Flash runs in, apologizing for being late. He tried to save the hockey player who was beat, but he was too late. And then he looks down to see the dead Reverse Flash and an unconscious Batman. Flash gets Batman up to his bed, where Alfred begins to take care of him, and he begins to go over the crime scene. The Reverse Flash is there as a skeleton, and he's trying to figure out what happened. Eventually, he realizes there's only one witness, so he goes to talk to Batman, and they decide to figure out what's going on. Batman tells him that Eobard said that he saw God. Flash tells Batman that he knows Thawne's vibrations, and there was something weird about them on his corpse. It's almost as if he traveled throughout space and time. How did he get back to the cave? Batman then explains that he put the button next to Psycho Pirate's mask and he saw something. A ghost of his father. They go over their notes. This all started the night that Wally West returned. Flash has also been seeing things such as Eobard Thawne and the Helmet of Mercury. The helmet apparently gave him hope. Batman asks Flash what he isn't telling him, and Flash tells him that he'll update him when he gets info. Within a short amount of time, Flash has made his way up to the Justice League Watchtower. It is here that they house all of the artifacts that they've come across. He thought back to the day that Wally returned from the Speed Force, and Wally told him that there was somebody watching them. He never saw who it was, but they're out there, and they're waiting to attack. Wally said that whoever this was more powerful than Darkseid. Flash runs over to a sheet, pulling it off, and there sits the Cosmic Treadmill, the tool that the Flash uses to travel through time, the thing that he swore that he would never use after he created the Flashpoint universe. But as he goes to get on it, Batman steps out of the shadows. "This is my case too, Barry." Flash tries to tell him no, but of course, that doesn't work as Batman and the Flash get on the treadmill together. and he begins to run faster than light. All around them is a blinding white light as they begin to run through the time stream. Flash notices that things aren't right immediately. Around them are different timelines, separate from the one that they live in, different outfits, altered histories, even timelines where individuals have died. And behind them is a time storm, which is getting closer and closer, and the Flash knows what this means. They can't get caught up in it or they won't even know where they land. He has to run faster, but he isn't fast enough as he gets hit by the storm with a full ka-kroom! Batman and Flash go flying off of the treadmill with Batman holding onto it with a batarang and the Flash zipping around trying to get back on. But the white light of time begins to close around them. It begins to swallow them up, and then the treadmill hits the ground, breaking into pieces. They both get up looking around, and Batman sees that this is his cave, but different, and the Flash realizes where they are. Batman sees the gun that killed his parents, and he sees a glass case. He lowers his cowl as he looks at it. How is it here? I never recovered it. And then Batman turns to see another Batman, his father. And Thomas Wayne turns to Bruce. I did this all because of you, son. Thomas continues. Everything I did because I wanted to save you. In the final fight, the Flash gave me hope for you, and I put my faith into him that you would be saved and I would die. And the nightmare of the Flashpoint universe would end. But something put this world on life support. The nightmare didn't stop. The war continued, the fights, the floods, the deaths of millions. I was a fool to think that I could do anything to save my son. And now, my enemies come for me. Wonder Woman and Aquaman finally agreed on something, and they both have sent their soldiers to put me down. I decided to take them with me. But now here you are, and this isn't real! He grabs Flash by the throat, but the Flash vibrates out of it, telling him, Dr. Wayne, please listen to me. Something went wrong. It's been months since I repaired the timeline, since I left and changed it all back. But there's something that has kept this universe around, and we are trying to follow its trail. How is it even possible? The Flash says, kneeling down to feel the vibrations. Flashpoint was never an alternate timeline, but an alternate history. It should no longer exist. It's being held in place like those visions that we saw on the time stream. I don't understand any of this, but I have to rebuild the cosmic treadmill. It should only take me a minute. And then Thomas Wayne looks at the stairs. We don't have a minute. Both Batmen drop their cowls and they jump into battle as the Flash rebuilds the treadmill, and as they complete the fight, the entire world begins to shake. It begins to fall apart. It's being let go of, finally. Bruce turns to his father. Your letter. It was the greatest gift that anyone's ever given to me. Bruce. After I read it, I knew I would never get a chance to respond. But if I did, there was one thing that I wanted to tell you above anything else. You're a grandfather. I have a son. Flash turns to them. Batman! The treadmill's at full power without me on it. We have to go, now! Bruce turns back to his father. Come with me, please. And Thomas turns back to him, throwing him onto the treadmill with the Flash. The universe around them begins to fade away into the time stream. Flash, you promised me that you would save my son, now do it! Thomas calls out. Bruce tries to fight against him. Barry, let me go! But Thomas looks at them as they begin to fade away into the time stream. You were my world, son. I delivered you myself, and the moment that I saw you, I know that every choice that I've ever made has been for the right reasons, because they led to you. You're the greatest gift that this life has ever given to me, and there is more that I should have shared with you in that letter. So listen to me. Don't be Batman. Find happiness. Please don't do this. Don't do it for me. Don't do it for your mother. Be a father in the way that I never could for you. Let the Batman die with me. Bruce calls out, we can save you! And then krakoom! They all vanish. Thomas stares at the dust cloud where they once were. You have. He throws the trigger to the bombs in the Batcave aside and he drops his cowl. And then he turns to the white light. Waynes never stay down. We rise! And he fades into oblivion. As Batman and Flash begin to run through the time stream again, Batman tries to convince Flash to turn around, but the Flash turns to him. There's nothing to return to. That world is gone. So Batman asks the next question. The button came to the cave. Why did it bring us to the Flashpoint universe? And behind them is the Reverse Flash running past them. Coming through, Flash! How on earth did you get ahead of me? Let alone find me? Batman and the Flash are shocked, but Batman sees Thawne holding the button and he tells Flash, he's holding the button. This is before he runs off and dies. So Flash calls out, Stop! Stop or you'll die, Thawne! And Thawne shouts back, I know where this button comes from, Flash, and they've never faced someone like me! And he continues to barrel on into the time stream. Flash calls out, Thawne, I've seen your future. You're going to die if you keep going. My future, Barry? Like the day that you broke my neck? Or the day that you watched Batman's father slide a sword in my back? Empty threats to a living paradox. There is no future. There is no past. Then a big bolt of lightning hits between them, and as the Flash calls out to Thawne again, he feels another force. Barry, I'm here. Batman asks him, did you hear that? And Flash tells him it's nothing. It's the time stream calling out to you. Thawne turns back to the two of them. I have an idea, Barry. Once I have this power, I'll go back and make you my son. I'll become a social worker and raise you. Make you my acolyte. And at that moment, the treadmill begins to fall apart and fall to pieces. Batman tells Flash, we need to land somewhere, Barry. And the Flash tells him, I have to catch Thawne. And Thawne gives the grin of the psychotic Reverse Flash. Like always, you're too late, Barry. I'm here. Your life is about to be undone. He arrives alone in open space with nothing but the ground and the person in front of him waiting. He looks down at the button, pulsing with power. Hello. You don't have to be shy now. I can feel your presence, like a wave of static electricity. It's powerful. I'll admit to the fact that I've never encountered anything quite like this. You've done such strange things to the timeline, things that I won't begin to question, and you've remained hidden from all of them. But I'm not like them. My existence is the only constant in a sea of possibilities. I cannot be erased by anyone, by you. Show yourself! Thawne looks up, and he sees the blue light, and it begins to swirl around him, and he realizes his mistake. My God, wait, I didn't know! The blue light touches him and it begins to pull him apart at the seams. Please, I don't want to die! But before he can even finish his sentence, he's pulled apart and turned into the skeleton from the start of our story. Meanwhile, Batman and Flash hear the scream from Thawne and they're tumbling through the time stream. But Flash hears another voice. Barry, I'm here. Flash and Batman begin to fall out of time and space itself. Flash grabs onto the treadmill for his life, and Batman is clinging on, hoping that the Flash has the answer. And both of them hear that voice again. Barry. Batman looks at him. Barry, listen to that voice. Grab onto it. Bruce, we don't know where it'll take us. We don't have a choice. The voice calls out again. Right here. Say my name. Say Jay. Flash is confused. Jay? And cracoom! A speedster's lightning flies through the time stream as Jay Garrick arrives on the scene. At last, I'm free! He leaps in front of both of our heroes, grabbing them, trying to run them through the time stream. He screams out as the time and space streams around him are trying to absorb him, Flash, and Batman. And when he finally gets his footing, he's off! Hang on! Power enough to get you! And then he throws them out of the time stream. Home! Cracoom! The echoes of a speedster's lightning ring throughout the Batcave as Batman and Flash have arrived. Flash turns to Jay and asks him, who are you? Did you kill Thawne? What do you want with us? Jay struggles because, like Wally, the Speed Force is pulling at him, trying to return him back to where it was hiding him. I didn't kill anyone, Barry. He stands with smoke and lightning flowing off of him. My name is Jay Garrick. I'm your friend, a Flash. Listen to me. I need you to remember. If you remember me like you did Wally. Barry thinks hard and a sad look begins to grow on his face. He told me I forget things. People. Someone did this. Do you know who it was? And then the time stream begins to reabsorb Jay. They took everything from me, Barry. I don't know how and I don't know why. Barry reaches his arm out. What is your name? What was it again? And then cracoom! A giant bolt of blue lightning reaches out and grabs Jay, removing him from the timeline again. Smoke swirls on the floor of the Batcave, and the Flash helps Batman up. The man said that he knew me, the same way that Wally did, but he's not here. Maybe he's from another timeline. Maybe I wasn't the lightning rod that he needed to stay grounded. The next day, Bruce and Barry stand in front of the grave of Thomas and Martha Wayne. Barry asks him, I wonder if all of this was Thawne's doing. Time rupturing, changing, people fading in and out of reality, like your father and that other Flash. He died. But maybe his death is what triggered all of this. Maybe there's no one else to chase. I appreciate you trying to close the case, Barry, but it's far from closed. So what? Our primary suspect is God? For now, that's all we have. The two of them walk away from this. For now. And off in space, something with blue light is watching over the planet. But back in Wayne Manor, Bruce is looking out the window, thinking about what his father told him. Don't be Batman. Find happiness. The bat signal shines in the sky, and he remembers the next words. Let Batman die with me. Alfred walks over to see Bruce looking into the sky at the signal. Sir, aren't you going to answer that? Bruce looks, and then he hangs his head low. And out in a time and place unknown to us, the button is sitting on the ground as the blue light draws closer to it, and we see the blue hand of Dr. Manhattan reach down and pick it up. Why does my perception of time distress you? Everything is preordained, even my responses. We're all puppets, Laurie. I'm just a puppet. You can see the strings. Near the beginning, a woman lowered herself into the Batcave. It was slow and methodical, and she grew closer to the Batmobile as the bats flew around her. With the simple act of letting go, she dropped onto it. And with a grin on her face, she said,
Meow.
and drove out. In the city, so dark as the hearts of the men that he was catching, Batman stood on a fire escape when Alfred called him up. Master Bruce. And he growled back, "Busy." And Alfred told him, "I'm aware of your busyness, sir, but there's an issue with the car." It comes crashing into the bar where they're at, and Batman looks at it and finds a rat on the front seat. He reports to Alfred that the Batmobile will be fine, and Alfred asks him, "Are we calling it the Batmobile, sir?" Batman looks at the driver's seat to find that mouse, squeaking and staring up at him. Later, Bruce sat on his day off trying to figure out a riddle left by the Riddler. He was making notes on his notepad when Alfred came over with a drink, so he put down the pen and paper and took it. He reached down to pick it back up a minute later to discover that the pen was gone. Alfred jokingly asked if he should alert Superman, or perhaps Mr. Wayne could look under the sofa, but he stood up looking around. "She's here, Alfred." He listened intently, and he could only hear the meow. He leaped over the chair and he ran into the dining room, where he jumped up and ran across the table. He yelled, "Stop!" And she said,
No.
They entered the kitchen and he yelled, "I'm gonna catch you!"
No, you're not.
He jumped over the chairs into the empty room crying out, "This is ridiculous!"
That you think you can catch me? I agree.
They went up the staircase and he told her, "I am gonna catch you!"
No, you're not.
They made it to the second story and she explained,
I wanted to tell you. I wanted to be nice after what happened to the car, so I called the cops on myself before breaking in, which I think is very generous.
She sprinted for the window, leaping out.
The police should be here, and they should be so surprised to see me going out the window and you following. Bruce Wayne?
Realizing that he just chased her without his costume, he stopped, letting her leap out the window, yelling out.
Bye-bye, Bat, and thanks for the pen.
Bruce stood there, wanting to chase after her, but knowing he couldn't. He shut the window and he turned around, where he found another mouse squeaking away. Later, more time passed and Batman returned to the Batcave due to the alarms going off. One set up specifically to alert him of Catwoman. He set up 5, she only found 4. He walked upstairs and Alfred called out that if she leaves another mouse, tell her to leave some money for some food for the thing. It's only proper. He walked into one of the rooms where Catwoman was messing with a safe, telling her that she's trapped. She told him that the safe behind the 5th alarm only had jewels in it. So, what's in this one? After opening it up, she pulled out a single pearl and asked him.
Why?
Standing in front of a painting of his parents, Batman told her, "It was my mother's. She died."
I know.
Everyone knows.
Yes, everyone knows, but I know.
You shouldn't be here.
My mother left, and growing up in Gotham, I was a stray. I was alone, like you. After they left, after a while, did you ever had that moment where you don't know anything else, where you almost like this life? You like being by yourself, and then you think, maybe it's better, maybe it's okay. Because it is okay. Why dress like a bat?
Why dress like a cat?
I like cats. Everyone likes cats. They're soft. Who likes bats?
No one. You shouldn't be what everyone likes.
You want people to be scared of you?
It helps.
I'm not scared of you.
No, you're not. And with that, she leaned in for a kiss, but before she could embrace him, she pulled back and began to fiddle with his belts. Batman told her that she shouldn't do that, but he didn't stop her. And then a smoke bomb went off and she ran into the distraction that she had created. He called out to Alfred asking if the alarms are going off, if anything is happening. But Alfred told him that all of the locks failed, and that Batman sees the mouse that she left. Later, she tried to enter again, but this time, Batman found her on the roof of the building, and he wanted to ask the one question. Why? And as she runs at him,
Because I'm making you better, or you're going to die.
she jumps over, grabbing his chin.
You've mastered just about anything you can master, but under it all, you're still a poor little rich boy in the house on the hill.
She runs off the roof as he yells, chasing her. "You don't know me!" And she tells him,
And you don't know me.
"Why do you care if I live or die?"
Do you care if I live or die?
"That's different. We're different."
No, Bat. That's just it. Under it all, we're the same.
And in the darkness, she vanishes. Batman stands there in the rain, looking around, calling out, "Cat! Cat! Cat!" And then he sees a mouse on his shoulder. Later that night, as she entered her apartment and took off her mask, Batman was standing in the shadows. "Squeak. Your mice left droppings. Those droppings had lead in them, which traced it back to the lead used in this apartment." She put her head in her hands.
Mouse poo. But it doesn't take 4 mice to leave poo. You've known since the beginning, haven't you? Why did you keep letting me enter?
"Because sometimes I like being alone, and then I hate everything because I like it. I saw you. I see you." He lowered his cowl and he stepped forward and she asked him.
You wanna help me?
And he told her as he took her in his arms,
I don't want to help you. And he embraced, getting the kiss that she teased him with earlier. But let me ask you, what if this was the end? What if Batman and Catwoman decided that enough was enough and they got to live their lives together without the threat of death, destruction, or the end of the world? Well, later on in their lives, when they were pushing their older years, they sat in the doctor's office, happy, because they were together their entire lives. And they still debated how they first met. Was it on the boat, or was it in the street? Something that they could never resolve. And sadly, this was the beginning of the end, as the doctor informed them. The results weren't good. As they left a doctor's office, Bruce Wayne was using his cane, and they discussed the tricks that Bruce used to train his memory. Why his version of how they met is the true version. But as he went into the story, Selina began to cry from the news that they had just received. She told Bruce that she was okay, and he held her before they continued their walk. The news from the doctor wasn't good. Later that evening, Helena, the new Batwoman, was there with her mother, explaining that they tried magic, but Zatanna said that there was no fix. Everyone has a time, and as Zatanna said, it's finally Batman's time. The bat signal blared in the background, and Helena told her mother that she had to go. That's when Selina was left alone with her thoughts. Later in bed, Bruce stood by the mirror looking at the paunch that he had developed over the years. Somewhere, out in another world where I stayed the Batman, I never got sick, I never got old, and I never got married. Selina told him to not forget the light as he came to bed. But he continued, after we're done here, I want you to find Barry. I want him to find you another Earth. Bring that guy over to watch over you. I want you to be happy. Selina lay with her head on her husband's chest as she said,
Bat,
Yes, Cat?
you forgot the light.
Yeah, I'll get it in a second. Just give me a second. Time passed and the condition got worse until his final days. Surrounded by his friends and his family, Bruce Wayne was allowed to pass on, after living a long life with the love that he was meant to be with. Her final words to him being,
I love you.
and she walked into the Batcave and took a seat in the Batmobile, remembering the first time that they had met. A kitten was sitting in the passenger seat and it had a note attached to it. She picked it up, and she read that note. I love you too, Cat. From the first kiss to the last. And as the sun begins to set in the desert, Bruce sits on his horse, holding a shotgun, stating, Here. Selina takes it, looking down at the dying horse, stating, She was a good one. She deserved better. Bruce takes out his canteen, getting a sip of water, and with a heavy sigh, he tells her, Yeah. Selina takes aim, and she fires one shot. She walks back to Bruce's horse, asking, One horse in this heat? 14 hours? Bruce hands over the canteen, telling her that he had it at 15, but it could have been 14. Selina takes a sip and hops back on the back of Bruce's horse, telling him, Not bad. And the two begin to ride off. As they ride, Bruce tells her, I love you, Cat. And Selina tells him, I love you too, Bat. After a little while, Bruce and Selina arrive at a town, and Tiger tells them that they really shouldn't be here. Bruce tells him, I know, but I've got some business in Kandaq, so here I am. Tiger begins checking the horse and says that Kandaq is not a country for business. It is a country of war, sealed off and abandoned by their leagues of justice. As they should know, it does not welcome superheroes. Bruce then says that Dick Grayson says that Tiger is the best intel man that there is. A man who knows what needs to be known, so could you get me in or not? Tiger takes the horse by the reins, telling Batman, Dick Grayson is an idiot. After a bit of traveling, the guard standing before the cave tells Tiger, We have known each other for a long time. For the money you're offering, I'd open the gate for anyone. But that is no man that you are with. That is Batman. Batman gets off the horse and Selina stops him, telling him, Please? Bruce sighs again, telling her, All right, but be nice. As Selina walks up to the giant man, he tells her, I am the god of the desert. Appointed by the Justice League of America, I have turned away heroes, villains, armies. And I want to fight and to bleed. I will even turn away the Batman. But you're just a little girl. What are we supposed to do now, dance? Selina thinks about it for a moment and smiles, telling him, Yes. And she takes out her whip. A few moments later, the guard falls on the ground, bloodied and bruised, shouting, There are rules! I agree to the rules! Everyone has! Selina walks up, stepping on the guard's head, and Bruce asks, That was you being nice? And Selina tells him, Nag, nag, nag. As the three walk in, Tiger says, He is right, you know. There are rules. And Bruce tells him, I know. I'm the one who wrote them. Tiger goes on stating, What I mean is that no one will follow you. Aren't you a bit worried? The UN, the military, all those super friends? Bruce stops him, asking, If you're a man who knows what needs to be known, then you should know why we're here, right? Tiger tells him yes, and Bruce then asks, Then do you honestly think that we're getting out of here alive? Tiger tells him no, and Bruce finishes by telling him that you probably understand. Right now, I'm not worried about my super friends. Meanwhile, in another part of the country, Talia al Ghul sits up from her bed, brushing her hair, when a messenger tells her that they just received word that Batman has arrived. She pauses and then goes back to brushing her hair, telling the messenger that she understands. Please, prepare the swords. Back outside, Selina looks around stating, that's a lot, and Bruce tells her, I see more. Selina looks around at Bruce, telling him, I didn't say I haven't seen more, I was saying that that's a lot. Bruce stumbles over his words, telling her that he wasn't trying to, but Selina stops him, telling him that she knows what he's trying to say, and Bruce corrects himself, stating, look, you're right, that's a lot. Selina then asks, are you making fun of me? And Bruce tells her, I may be wearing a leather bat costume, but do I look like I'm crazy enough to make fun of you? She then says that she's not sure. Does she look dumb enough to know what a lot is? Bruce looks around at all of the assassins surrounding them and then says, no, you actually look lovely. Selina takes out her whip, telling him, sure, now you say it. Just wait until I've got blood all over me. As the fighting begins, Bruce quickly notices the assassins are not using guns, perhaps to keep them alive. Selina asks, how about we ask them? And Bruce tells her, it's hard to ask. The bounce of their jaws on my knuckles feel off. They don't have tongues, which means this is her. The two continue their couple quips while fighting off the assassins, and after the last assassin falls, Bruce pulls a knife out of his arm, telling her, I just realized something. These assassins are not here to kill us. They're here to tire us out. A stern voice cuts through the silence and says, Detective? And Bruce responds, Talia. Talia then asks, do you have a sword? Because if not, get one. And Selina asks, is that your ex? Ignoring the question, Bruce tells Talia, I'm not here to fight. Ignoring his question, Talia tells him, get one. And Selina says, yeah, definitely your ex. Talia swings a sword and Bruce backs up, stating that they're just here for a woman by the name of Holly Robinson. Talia then continues to slash at Bruce, and he goes on explaining that Holly killed 237 people and Catwoman took the blame. She fled from Gotham and was later tracked here to her. As Talia brings the sword down, Bruce blocks them with his arm guard, telling her, we just want to see Holly. After that, we'll leave. Talia leans in, telling him, yes, that is what you do. And then she flips Bruce to the ground. Before he can get up, she takes one of her swords, stabbing it down into his shoulder, telling him, you will leave now. Selina runs over to check on Bruce, and as she does, Talia asks, do you have a sword? Selina shouts, asking, are you insane? And Talia repeats herself, so Selina yells back, no! Talia then calmly tells her, get one. So Selina stands back up, grabbing the sword out of Bruce's shoulder, stating, okay, got one. Talia readies herself, telling her, good, shall we? The fighting between the two of them lasts long enough for the desert sun to turn to night, and all the while, Talia tells a story of her upbringing. The day that she took her first step, her father did not smile nor congratulate her. He did not take a picture or tell her how proud he was. Instead, she was given a sword and slapped to the ground. The taste of blood in her mouth and on her tongue, it was bitter and wet. She wiped her lip, and then she looked up and she saw a demon, and he said one thing, fight or die. As Talia goes on, Selina swings, knocking the sword out of Talia's hand, telling her, that is all very impressive, but I didn't know my own father. No one gave me a sword. No one gave me anything. In fact, I only picked up a sword once, maybe twice. She then kicks Talia's sword to her, and as she charges back in, she asks, how is that for impressive? Outside on the steps entering the area, Dick Grayson sits with Damian, knowing that they can't enter, and Dick asks, why do you think he came? And Damian tells him, I don't know, and I don't care. Dick then asks the better question. Why didn't he tell us instead of us finding out through Alfred? Damian says the same thing. I don't know and I don't care. What my father chooses is the choice of my father. And Dick asks, what is that supposed to mean? And Damian tells him, my father is Batman and I am Robin. And Dick says, wait. Did you actually just say that out loud? He's Batman and I am Robin? Those were the words that were in your mind and exited your mouth? Maybe that's why Bruce didn't tell us, because he thought you would say that. I have something to tell you, son. I'm going to ask her to marry me. Holy moly, that's wonderful, because you're Batman and I'm Robin. Damian tells Dick to shut up, and Dick says, fine, I will, because you're Robin and I'm Nightwing. Back inside, Talia asks, so, you are from nothing, and you wish to marry the detective. Is that not laughable? As Selina is knocked down, she says, obviously, I'm not laughing. And Talia goes on stating, to be married is to be a partner. An equal. Do you think yourself an equal to him? Really? Well then, now it is time to get laughable. Selina gets back up, engaging, asking, what's so funny? Look at you, you tried. Wouldn't that mean that you see him as an equal as well? And Talia tells her, I tried because in all of the world, only the detective could possibly be my equal.
Selina then asks, in all the world? You think that you're the best for him? The man is broken. All the way from the start, he's cracked. He's going to always put a vow that he took as a 10-year-old boy before anyone else. No matter how much we love him, no matter how much we want to be loved back, we will always be second to a child's idiotic fantasy in a world full of Superman and Mr. Terrifics. You think yourself the best, and for you, looking for the best? Whatever he is, I can swear he is not that. What he is, all that he is just a stupid man that I stupidly love. Out in front, Dick says, here's why I think Bruce didn't tell us. Please, don't interrupt by going all, I am Robin on me. Damian tells him, you're such a child. And Dick yells, you're like 10. But Dick goes on, take it for what it's worth, but I think Bruce just wants to be happy. Damian tells him that his father is happy, and Dick tells him no, he's not. And the reasons he's not is the reason he's not telling us, or rather, told us. Bruce is a lot of things. World's greatest detective, the Caped Crusader, the Dark Knight, all of it. But he is not selfish. He gives whatever he has, and whatever happens, he is the first to bleed. Being happy, that's not bleeding. That's not giving. That's asking for something, and that's not easy for Batman to do. Back inside, Talia asks Selina, you love him? And she tells him that she does. And Talia says, you are a fool then. Talia kicks Selina down, telling her, you fought well. Maybe after I kill you, I will do as my father did and throw you in the pit. When you scream, I will fetch you back out. As Talia holds the sword close to Selina's neck, Selina reaches up, grabbing the blade with her head, telling her, I have 9 lives, and I'm not wasting one on you. Once Selina has a firm grip on the blade, she kicks Talia to the ground, and Talia begins to get back up as Selina takes the sword, stabbing it into Talia's shoulder, telling her, I have to go talk to Holly for a second. You mind holding my sword? Selina runs over to Holly, who's been watching the whole fight, and Holly says that after what they've been through, she's just gonna make her confess. Also, she could be with him. Selina hugs Holly, telling her, no, I would never. But I want this to happen, and that's why I'm asking you to help me. Off in the corner, Talia sits next to Bruce, asking, so that's your betrothed? And after a grumble, Talia says, you know what? I actually like her. A little while later, at the front of the entrance, Selina comes out with Bruce around her shoulder. Dick runs over to help support Bruce, and Bruce says, Alfred, I shouldn't have told Alfred. Dick tells him, yeah, and then Damian steps up. Bruce looks at Damian, and Damian asks, are you happy? At first, Bruce hesitates, and then he looks at Selina, and he tells his son, I'm getting there. Damian waits to respond, but then he says, we don't have extra horses, so we're gonna have to ride 2 per horse. And this heat should be about 14 hours. Selina tells him that she makes it 15. And Damian says, no, it's 14. Also, while you were inside, did you happen to see my mother? And Selina says that she sort of stabbed his father in the back, so she stabbed her in the back. And Damian says, well, the more things change.
As Superman flies down to stop a speeding train, he finds himself in a slight predicament not involving trains. One of his close friends, Bruce Wayne, is getting married, and he really hasn't told anyone about it. Over in Metropolis, Lois tells Clark that she should just call him, and Clark says that he can't. If Bruce wanted to talk, he would call. But he hasn't. Besides, I'm busy. Lois says, right, I'm pretty sure he's sitting at home right now just twiddling his thumbs. Meanwhile, over in Gotham, as Bruce and Selina go on patrol, Bruce says that, I don't need to call him. And Selina knocks out 2 armed men, telling him, I thought he was like your closest friend. Don't say Gordon is, because that doesn't count. Bruce tells her, fine, Alfred's my closest friend. And Selina tells him that also doesn't count. Alfred is on payroll. Bruce says, what? I'm not supposed to pay him? Do you know how many cucumber sandwiches he makes every week? Selina then says, Bat, my love, just call him. Over at Metropolis, Lois says that she would actually like to meet her. And Clark quickly tells her, absolutely not. She's a criminal. We can't share our secret identities with a criminal. Lois says, how is that gonna work? We trust Bruce daily to save the world, but we can't trust him to love someone that we can trust? Besides, I've read up on Catwoman. She's very good at finding things on people that they try and hide. If she wants to know something, she will, or probably already knows it. Meanwhile, over in Gotham, Selina tells Bruce, he's the man who writes about Superman. He also happens to look like Superman with glasses and slicked back hair. There isn't much I don't know. Later, once Bruce and Selina get back to the Batcave, Selina says that she gets it now. You're ashamed of me. Bruce looks at her, and after a few moments of silence, he tells her, no. Selina then says, okay, if that's not it, what is it? And rather than answering her question, Bruce starts by trying to talk about the investigation that he's looking into. She jumps down and climbs on top of Bruce, telling him, no matter what happens, she'll understand.
Just do it. A short while later, as the two of them head back out to follow up on Bruce's new lead, Clark and Lois begin to follow up on their own lead, and while both couples get back to work seemingly at the same time, both Bruce and Clark begin to speak about each other. Clark says how Bruce witnessed the deaths of his parents at a young age, how he was raised alone inside of a huge mansion. With that kind of a lifestyle, he should have been a killer, but instead he took that pain and he turned it into hope. Bruce says that Clark watched his whole planet be destroyed, the sole survivor of a forgotten race. He grew up in the dirt, finding out slowly how different he actually was. He could have taken that and become something terrible. Instead, he became a symbol of hope. Even though the two heroes won't talk to each other, they both have nothing but positive things to say about one another. Clark tells Lois that Bruce got engaged and he didn't call. That's okay. It's his way of stating that we're not really friends. And Bruce tells Selina that one cannot just be friends with Superman. I don't need to congratulate him. Who am I compared to him? As the two couples sneak into their target location through the elevator shafts, they step out and they see each other. Clark asks, "How did you get in without me seeing you?" And Bruce says, "Why would you take the elevator? Besides, you weren't supposed to see me." After several awkward moments of silence, Lois reaches out to shake Selina's hand, stating, "Hi, you must be Catwoman." And then the two are separated as the two villains that the heroes are searching for appear. Bruce and Clark easily knock them out, and Clark asks, "So, how about we all go out and get a bite to eat?" The next night at the Gotham County Fair, a staff member says that he's sorry, but rules are rules. It's superhero night, so to get in, they have to be a superhero. And with how they're dressed, they're not superheroes. Bruce looks at the suits that they're all wearing and scowls. "Yeah, we'll just go somewhere else." Selina tells him that it took them an hour to agree on this, and Lois says she has an idea. It's not like they don't have costumes. Bruce gets ready to go into the car and says no. And Clark says, "Well, this is an idea, but wouldn't we just look too much like we already look right now?" So Lois tells him, "Right, why don't we switch things up? Bruce can be Superman and Clark can be Batman." Bruce says, "No, again." And Selina steps up stating, "What my kind and patient fiance is trying to say is that he sees his kind and patient fiance getting tired and hungry. He'll do whatever he needs to do to remedy that situation. Isn't that what he's meaning to say?" And Bruce tells her, "No." And with that, the couples head to the bathrooms to switch their costumes. As Bruce is putting on Superman's tights, Clark hands him the cape stating, "The S stands for hope." Bruce then hands over the Batman costume and says, "The bat stands for a bat." And Clark tells him, "Sure." In the other bathroom, Lois looks at Selina's outfit, and Selina says, "Don't worry, it stretches." And Lois tells her that it better. A short while later, the four return to the staff member from before, and he says, "Everyone's good except for the one in the dress. Who are you supposed to be anyway?" Selina stares at him and leans in and meows in his ear, and he says, "Haha, well." And Selina meows again. The man says, "Okay, you're good. Have a good night." Once the four walk in, Clark, wearing his glasses in the Batman suit, says that this will be fun, while Bruce quickly tells him, "No, it won't." Everyone grabs corn dogs, and Bruce looks at it and it says that he's going to have to kick a lot of trees to work this off. Lois then asks, "Why would you kick a tree?" And Clark says, "I kicked a tree once. I felt so bad that I spent the rest of the day planting 800 saplings outside of Smallville." After that, the couples walk around the fair until they see the Tunnel of Love ride. Clark and Lois are the first to go in, and as they come out, Clark says, "That was nice." And right behind them, Bruce and Selina come out. And Selina says, "Can't seem to keep my hands to myself." Next up in the batting cages, Bruce and Clark hit a few balls, with Bruce stating, "There needs to be a faster setting. This is way too easy for us." And Clark cracks another ball and says, "You know, I suppose I could pitch for you, unless you're scared." Bruce hits another ball and asks, "Scared of what? Embarrassing you?" "No." So while the two begin to focus on their game, Lois pulls out a flask and says that she's trying hard not to be a reporter. But of all people, him? Why would you? Why would anyone? That's all I'm asking. After taking a sip, Lois hands the flask to Selina. And Selina says, "Well, it's just that when she falls, he catches her." She knows it's stupid, but does any of that make sense? Lois sits down stating that her father, General Lane, wanted her to be in the army, wanted her with a gun, shooting people. Selina squeezes her oversized stuffed cat, stating that her father ran away. Maybe she's not sure. Lois asks if it's better, not knowing that you're living the wrong life. And Selina tells her that she tries so many things. Her life is always changing. What's left of her without anyone watching? At the end, when she meets her maker, what is she supposed to state? And Lois says, "Meow?" And the two burst out laughing. As Selina slides down to sit, she says that she's getting married, and Lois tells her that she's too young. And Selina then says, "You know, I am too young. Thank you." Soon the night begins to wind down, and as the four get ready to leave, Selina tells Lois how Bruce proposed, and told her that before she was allowed to answer
answer. He needed to tell her something. It was about Kite Man. Lois asked what. But Selina yells, "Don't even get me started." As the two talk, a man dressed as the Question grabs Lois's purse and shouts, "The question isn't about who is going to let me, it's about who's going to stop me." Lois stares and says, "Oh," and both her and Selina start to laugh. Bruce grabs a baseball and tells Clark to spot him. Clark scans the crowd and says, "Throw 95 feet straight, 6 feet and 3 inches to the right, and 3, 2, 1. Bruce throws the ball into the air over everyone, and as it comes back down, it hits the robber in the back of the head, knocking him out. Afterwards, Clark and Lois ride the Ferris wheel, and Clark says, "Seriously, he has no idea. John can't even get a hit off of me." Bruce begins to think out loud, trying to calculate Clark's pitch, and Selina completely ignores him by actually having fun. Later, as the couples leave the fair, Clark says that it was actually kind of nice going out, and Selina tells him that Bruce thinks so too, but he won't tell anyone. Lois hugs Selina, telling her that whatever wedding she is doing, she is so coming, and Selina asks, "Do I really have to do a wedding thing?" Lois tells her, "Of course you do. That way, I can come." Clark pats Bruce in the back, telling him, "Congratulations, she's a real catch," and Bruce tells him, "You didn't do bad yourself." As the two shake hands, Clark says it's too bad we didn't get a chance to pitch, and Bruce tells him, "Yeah, maybe next time." As the two silently stand there, Bruce says, "I know a place," and Clark says, "Fine, but we're switching clothes back." A short while later, out at the baseball field, Clark starts to ready himself for the throw as Bruce gets into position. Over by the dugout, Lois sees Selina pull something out and asks, "What's that?" And she says that it's the wallet of the mugger. She swiped it as he ran by. Lois says, "Why would you keep it? That's so wrong." And Selina says, "Right?" Over at the pitcher's mound, Clark says that he knows that he's trying to do the impossible, right? And Bruce tells him, "I know." Lois looks at the two of them and says that these boys have so many problems. And Selina tells her that that's true, but they also have so many abs. And Lois says, "Right?" Clark winds up the pitch and he throws, and to everyone's surprise, Bruce hits it out of the park. As Commissioner Gordon sits on the phone before he heads home for the night from the office, he talks to his daughter Barbara about the football game that he just missed. She tells him how Campbell fumbled at the 1-yard line. As he listens, he sees the bat signal shining in the clouds, and he says that he's got to call her back. He hangs up the phone, grabbing a few of the officers heading to the roof, asking how many damn memos does he have to send. No one touches the damn bat signal. Whatever damn fool turned that thing on, this is no exaggeration, I'm going to kill him. But as he opens the door, he sees Wonder Woman standing there, and he says, "I'm sorry, Miss Wonder Woman?" Diana tells him that she would like to speak with Batman alone, please. And Gordon says, "Sure, he should be here shortly." She motions to behind him, stating, "Actually, he's already here." And Gordon says, "Right, good. We'll just excuse ourselves." Once all of the police officers leave, Batman tells Diana that she should have just used the Justice League communicator. Diana says that she wanted to try out the signal. She thought it might be fun. Batman asks, "What can I help you with?" And Diana says that it's the gentleman. He's contacted her. He's ready. Batman thinks of the hordes of Gehenna and how they forever tried to break into their realm. Their numbers derive from the sin of man, so their numbers are endless. But forever standing between the apocalypse entering their existence is the Gentleman. Several years ago, on a League mission, Diana and Batman discovered this fight and briefly fought alongside him. In that short time, they felt his nobility and the impossibility of his burden. There's only one way to enter that realm, and it's if someone on their side opens it. So for thousands of years, the Gentleman has fought with no way of coming back. But before Zatanna pulled Diana and Batman back to the real world, they offered to one day return and take the Gentleman's place. And finally, he has accepted that offer. Back at the Batcave, Selina swipes at a scarecrow dummy, asking, "Doesn't Batman fight crime? This doesn't really sound like a Batman thing. Wouldn't this be better suited for Superman?" Batman tells her, "First, I don't have a thing. Second, powers don't work in that realm as they do here. Fighting prowess is more essential. That's why Wonder Woman and myself have an advantage over Superman in that area." The head falls off the dummy and it rolls off, and Selina says, "I'm so telling Clark that." Batman then steps forward in his suit of armor and says, "Please don't." As Selina looks back, she starts laughing, telling him he looks ridiculous. Later, as he's getting ready, Diana tells him not to listen to her. He does not look ridiculous. He looks, but Batman stops her, stating, "Ridiculous." Diana takes her sword and smiles and says, "Well, yes, a bit. But I am also very much not one to say. All men who try to fight look ridiculous to me. All of you with your weapons acting so tough. It really does not suit your gender." She takes her sword, slamming it into the ground, and seconds later, Batman and her are in the other realm fighting against the hordes of Gehenna. In their place in the real world, Julian, the Gentleman, takes off his helmet and a voice tells him, "Don't worry, we left you a suit." Julian looks up to where the voice is coming from, asking, "Are you a demon?" Selina tells him, "No, well, at least not today." A short while later at Bat Burger, Julian takes a bite of his burger and he says, "Batman is really popular here. He seems like a good man." And Selena says that she sure hopes that he is. Julian then asks, are you his wife? And Selena says, to be. So Julian follows up asking, why would you marry someone if you could only hope that he is good? She thinks about it and says, come on, we don't have much time. We should get going. Meanwhile, back in the other realm, after fighting several armies, Diana looks off in the distance and says that another one is coming. Batman begins to shave with an axe, telling her, the horde is everlasting. And Diana says, yes, but are they? Back with Selena and Julian, Julian says, yes, I am married, just as a mugger attempts to romp. She turns back, kicking the gun out of the man's hand and asks, how exactly does that even work, Julian? Julian punches the man, stating, I will tell you after I call her. Back with Batman and Diana. Diana stabs down onto the creature, asking, how long has it been? And Batman tells her, too long. As Diana starts to get back up, she says she's starting to, but Bruce stops her, stating, don't say it. Back in the real world, Selena walks with Julian as he goes to see his wife, and Selena asks when was the last time that he saw her? The last time that he left for the hordes, maybe a year or so. Selena then says that Batman says that you were fighting for thousands of years, and Julian says, that is right. Time is different there. It passes, but you do not age. As Julian continues to walk ahead, Selena says, wait, they've already been gone for hours. How long? But back in the other realm, Batman and Diana sit down by the fire, and Batman says, by my guess, it's been about 10 years. Diana sighs, telling him that they could not have opened the gate without him, and yet he does not come. So then perhaps this is everything, all of life, their life. Batman says, the hordes are everlasting. And Diana laughs, telling him, yes, and all we have is each other. Now that she looks at him without the pointy ears, it doesn't look so bad. Batman and Diana lean their heads together as if they're about to kiss, and Bruce tells her, yeah. Back in the current time, Selena pins Julian down with her boot, and Julian says, they offered and I accepted. And Selena asks, did they know? And Julian tells her, no. Back over in the other realm, as the two heroes lean in closer, Bruce stops and says that they can't. Diana tells him, no, we can't, ever. The two begin to laugh. Bruce then says that this is ridiculous, and Diana tells him, yes, very much. Bruce sighs, stating that he loves her and he misses her. And Diana tells him that she sounds like a good woman, just as Steve Trevor is a good man. And like Steve Trevor, his Selena deserves someone who is also good. So be good. And if you are not, as a friend, I will hit you so hard that those silly pointy ears will fall right off. In the real world, Julian rings the bell to the apartment and Selena asks him, so you just go for all that time and she just stays? And Julian tells her that his wife has her own life. It is here, not in the other realm. Selena then asks, how does that marriage even work? She thought it was something different. Julian says that he does not know how marriage works. All he knows is that he loves her, and he always will. After a few moments, the door begins to open, and a young woman starts to tell them that she's sorry, and then she stops, and she begins to cry. Julian looks at Angela and tells her, it's been so long, I don't even have words. Over in the other realm, the years begin to pile on, with only minutes passing in the real world. Angela tells Julian about how she made full detective, and at her ceremony, Gordon was even there. And after some time, Selena sighs and calls out, Mr. Gentleman, Sir, Julian, whatever, we need to talk. Once Julian steps away, Selena tells him that he said briefly, and Julian begs, just another hour or two, please. Selena then asks, what is it for them then? And Julian says it'll be about a decade or more. Selena waits in silence for a moment and then says that she's sorry. Over in the other realm, it is currently year 31 of their journey, and after another successful fight, Bruce says that he really misses his dog. Diana takes a bite of the roasting tail and asks, what? And Bruce says he misses everyone, the boys, the cat, the family, his dog Ace. Diana takes another bite and she says that she misses her kangaroo. As Bruce starts to eat, he asks, you have a kangaroo? And Diana tells him that she doesn't talk about it, but his name is Jumpa. Bruce starts chewing and he says, she sounds nice. And Diana says that she is nice and she misses her. Over in the real world, Alfred begins to drive Selena and Julian back, and Julian says that he had to see Angela. If he had told Batman and Wonder Woman of the sacrifice, no matter how good they think they are, they never would have agreed. So yes, he lied. He fights every day to save everyone, and once he lied, because there's been so many years of blood and of killing that he could not live one more day without his Angela. As Julian suits up, he spins his mace, and Selena tells him that he asked how he could marry a man that she hopes is good. Growing up, she didn't see love like this, but now she can, and for that, he has her thanks. Julian says, please, do not thank me. Not while I am leaving her. Not while I am showing how much of a fool I am. The only thing that I truly stupidly know is that I am the gentleman and the horde is everlasting. As Julian slams his mace to the ground, a bright light begins to shine, and in the other realm, Bruce and Diana see that light. Julian steps through shouting, all right, you bastards, make it worth it. In the real world, Bruce and Diana begin to appear, and Diana asks where they are. And Bruce sees Selena and tells her, we're home, Diana. A short while later, Diana hugs Bruce and then tells Selena, thank you for waiting and saving us years. People say that you are a criminal, that you steal things, but perhaps everyone is wrong. Perhaps you are a hero. I am happy that my friend has found love in you. But this gentleman, the next time that he needs his break, what shall we tell him? Bruce says that he can go, but Selena stops him, stating that they will be waiting. But this time, Batman's wife will join her husband in battle. Diana begins to fly up, telling her, and if both of us are there, then the hordes may not be so everlasting. As Diana leaves, Bruce and Selina start to walk, and Bruce says that he has to say something. Selina says, 37 years, a Wonder Woman, were you bad? And Bruce tells her, bad, no, not good enough. This is new, but I'm trying. And Selina says, yes, well, try harder. It was late night in Wayne Manor when Bruce suddenly awakens from his sleep in a panic. He starts to look around and sees Selina sleeping next to him, and she quietly says, I'm Selina. He jumps up out of bed and begins to run down the hallway when he runs into Alfred, and Alfred stares for a moment and then asks, Sir, if I may, where are your clothes? Bruce begins to feel weak in his legs and he falls to his knees, and as he does, Alfred reaches down asking if he can help him back up. But without answering, Bruce springs up, sucker punching Alfred and knocking him out. As Alfred's hand falls over, he loosens the grip on a batarang that he was carrying. Bruce stumbles as he gets up, trying to head to the Batcave, and as he sits down, Selina walks in asking, what's the matter? He doesn't answer her, and she wraps her arms around him, telling him, relax. Just let me hold you. As she leans in for a kiss, Bruce reaches down to grab a small injection gun. She quickly pulls back to swipe at his neck. But before she can reach him, Bruce takes the gun and he injects Selina with an unknown formula before injecting himself with the same thing. The moment he does, he begins to feel his body go weak and he passes out. But as he does that, a voice begins to tell Bruce that they love him. They love him so much. Not only that person, but everyone across the globe. They love him too. But the voice that is coming out of everyone is Poison Ivy's. The next morning, Bruce begins to wake up in bed, and as he looks around, he sees both Selina and him are in their costumes, Batman and Catwoman. She wakes up asking what's going on, and he tells her, she's here. A few moments later, Ivy, using and speaking through Alfred, walks in to tell Bruce a story. Several years ago, Joker decided that he could beat Superman. To do so, he took a number of hostages and he hid them around the city, placing each of them in lead boxes. The Joker figured that since Superman couldn't use his X-ray vision to see through lead, he would have the upper hand. So, as Superman scanned the city, he saw what he could not see. Thus, he located each and every one of the hostages. Bruce gets up out of his bed, ready to knock Alfred out. And as he goes to take a swing, there's a crack of lightning, and Barry Allen, the Flash, runs in the path, forcing Bruce to punch him instead. Ivy asks, would you like to try again? I'm sure there's a few more Flashes available. Bruce asks, what does she want? And over in the park, Ivy says, oh, you misunderstand. Every person holding a gun, every army awaiting their orders, every superhero and supervillain. I control them all. They all love me, and I can feel and understand each of them, just as I control the green. So what do I want? No. I don't want anything. I already have everything. Bruce tells her that there's something that she doesn't have, and that's me. Ivy says, well, yes. However, using Alfred's codes and Cyborg's abilities, I took a look inside of the Bat computer. I saw the formula, your cure, and I must say it's very impressive. The use of such a rare Franciscan daffodil extract. Clever. Though I'm sure that you're unaware that the cure can only defend against what happened. It cannot reverse it. So as far as I know, there's no formula that can fix this. There are 7.6 billion people under my control, and through them, the world will be made a better place. It's true, I don't control you. Two little superheroes hiding in lead boxes. Alfred begins to leave the room, and Ivy finishes stating, it's a shame that you won't get to be a part of this, but that's not a concern. Selina then asks, does she mean everyone? But how? Bruce tells her, I don't know. Selina then asks, if she controls the League and our families, how are we supposed to fight? Bruce takes a moment to think and he tells Selina, I don't know. A few days go by and Bruce and Selina watch the news, and the reporters talk about how they have yet another day of peace and prosperity thanks to Ivy. No wars are going on, children are eating, the earth is slowly beginning to heal itself, and of course, we are all happy in love. With Ivy, Bruce groans and tells her, all right, let's go. He drives the Batmobile down the road, and Selina asks, isn't it nice that she lets us out? And then repeats herself, only a little louder. Isn't it nice that she lets us out? Up above them, Superman is listening in, and Bruce just thinks to himself. A short while later, the two stop by Batburger to get something to eat, and Selina says, you know, we could have Ivy as your best man, and she would obviously be my maid of honor as well. We could also do something with flowers. Perhaps Ivy could help us. I was never a big fan of large weddings, so how about we just invite Ivy? After the two leave, Bruce drives them to the suburbs with Superman closely following. As they get out, Bruce leans over to Selina and whispers, I have to tell you something that I don't want her to hear, and that is that I love you. Selina whispers back, that is very interesting. I'll try and keep it between us. There's also something else. Superman knows when not to listen in. As Superman is focusing on listening in, Bruce places his fingers to his mouth and he lets out a loud whistle. Superman shouts in pain and Bruce tells her, "See?" And Selina says, "Fine, I was wrong. You can stop Superman with a whistle." The two of them begin to walk up to a house, but before they can walk in, there's a crack of lightning. And Selina says, "I'll handle this one." She waits for a few moments and then times her swing back perfectly, hitting Barry, Wally, and the second Wally, stating, "There we go. All of the flashes are taken care of." Bruce pushes the door open to the house and he sees an older woman sitting in a chair and he asks, "Is he here?" Through the woman, Ivy tells him, "I have a lantern coming. 2 actually, and a Wonder Woman. Oh, and don't forget Gorilla Grodd and his army of gorillas just in case." Bruce says, "No, he's not here." And Ivy shouts, "I told you to stay in the mansion. I was trying to be nice." A short while later, Bruce and Selina find themselves strung up atop of a building, with Selina stating, "You know, the whole bat striking fear in the heart's a villain thing? I'm pretty sure Ivy isn't getting that." And Bruce tells her, "Yeah." He then turns to the heroes that are floating around them and he says, "She's letting them eat. It was on the burgers, tomatoes, lettuce, onion. The whole planet has been consuming the green. All of those planets dying. And then there was Johnny Sutres. He has a severe allergy to greens. It's debilitating. The Wayne Foundation has been trying to find him a cure, but he couldn't eat greens. So when we went to his home, you've hidden him from us. That's what you didn't want me to see. Where's Johnny? Where did you hang the boy?" And Ivy yells through Superman, telling him, "Shut up! We were on the brink of destruction, fires, hurricanes, starvation. The world was trying to kill us before we could kill her." Bruce tells her, "That's awfully kind of you. We're all so damn ugly and you turned us into roses and made a beautiful bouquet. Now everyone loves Ivy." With a frustrated shout, Ivy uses Superman to punch square into Batman's head. She then looks at him saying, "No." And Selina shouts, Bat? A short while later, in Ivy's overgrown park, Selina asks, "Is he dead?" And Ivy looks at a flower stating, "He was. I brought him back. Magic, science, surgery. There's someone for everything these days." Selina asks, "If that's so, what am I used for?" And Ivy doesn't respond right away. Ivy says that she's going to be her maid of honor. They may as well become friends. Selina says that they were friends before all of this, and now? And Ivy says, "I had to do this. There's rot in the garden and I will cleave it out. What is good will grow again." Selina says, "What is all this talk about rot? You're really starting to sound like Freeze. I know you, and whatever this is, it's not you." And Ivy shouts, "You think you know me? You don't know a damn thing about me. I've done something. I've killed. Right here, in this spot. I should have stopped. Someone should have stopped me. I was so scared of the Joker and the Riddler. I thought I had control, but the truth is I was never in control. Now though, I'm afraid. Everyone is in my control. I can be good. I can be redeemed, and no one can stop me." Elsewhere, a voice tells Bruce that he's recovering nicely, and Bruce says, "You needed speed, so you used Flash's speed. You needed strength, so you used Superman's strength. You needed help to recover someone with a head injury, so you brought in someone with 4 PhDs in neurology. And after getting hit that hard, after making you hit me that hard, this is exactly what I was expecting. Puddin'." Bruce looks up to see Harley Quinn in a lab coat smiling back. Bruce leans up stating, "You have so much, all of the heroes, villains, and weapons. If I want to fight with what little I have, I would lose wars. But the thing is, we both should have learned this in the war of jokes and riddles, is that some wars shouldn't be fought." Back in the park, Ivy tells Selina that she didn't pick a side like the rest of them. She didn't pick Joker or Riddler's side. Selina says, "Yeah, they asked, and I simply declined. Rather impolitely." Ivy then asks, "So, you were willing to let the Joker set it all on fire? Or willing to let the Riddler control everything?" And Selina tells her no. Any man who wants her in the way those two wanted her, well, she's forever unwilling. Ivy says, "Okay, so I was weak, a poor little girl lured into a trap. I killed 5 men, wore Riddler's signet, fought for the Riddler. Just how young was I?" Selina tells her too young, and Ivy snaps back, "I don't understand anything." Selina says that they have both seen some terrible things. Maybe that's all she understands. Back at the hospital, Bruce tells Ivy that she needs help. They're going to help her. Ivy brushes them off, stating that she is saving the world, and Bruce tells her that she is trying to do good, but doing it in the wrong way. "I know you don't want to hurt anyone because you are hurt." She shouts back, asking, "What do you know about hurt? The earth is hurt. People are hurt. I am fine." Bruce tells her, "You are not fine. You're alone, or you think you're alone. I am here to tell you that that's not true. There are people that are ready to help." She sighs, telling him, "Great, fantastic. I'm hurt, I'm alone, and Batman and Catwoman are going to help me." Selina tells her, "No, not us." And Bruce says, "Harley." Ivy asks what's he even talking about. "I am Harley, I am everyone." And Bruce tells her, "Yeah, you're mostly everybody, but she is Harley, because Harley isn't most everyone. Everyone else, you could have lived with them losing everything, but not Harley." Ivy begins to say, "Harley and her, you don't know anything about us." And Selina asks Ivy, "What's wrong? You seem distracted." Ivy begins to rub her head, stating that she has to to run the entire world while dealing with Catwoman and Batman. How could she not be distracted? Bruce then says everyone else is buried deep inside, but Harley, you left right on the surface. Selina tells Ivy, no, you are supposed to be distracted. That's the plan. And just as Ivy asks, what plan is that? Selina kicks Ivy in the head, knocking her out. She picks up Ivy's body, stating, the Bat's gonna have about 14 seconds to wake up Harley. I have 15 seconds to wake up Ivy before the planes start to fall out of the sky. And at those moments, Bruce and Selina try waking up both people that they're talking to, with Bruce begging Harley to snap out of it. After a few seconds, her head begins to bob and she simply says, Puddin'? Ivy begins to wake up asking what happened, and Selina smiles, stating that she's guessing he probably freed Harley. Over at the hospital, Bruce grabs Harley and jumps out the window down to his Batmobile. Once inside, he quickly puts his mask on and tells Harley, I'm going to need you to talk to her. Superman will hear you. Tell Ivy that you want to meet in person. She begins to rub the side of her head and looks over at Batman and says, you? And Batman tells her, yeah. A short while later, with everyone meeting up in the park, Harley, Batman, Catwoman, and Ivy, Harley simply shouts, Batman changed in the car. Batman has a machine to put his pants on in a car. Batman's crazy, and I know crazy. Harley looks at Ivy and asks, how are you doing? And Ivy tells her, I'm fine. I'm saving the world. And Harley says, that's not what I asked. How are you doing? Ivy pauses for a moment and then begins to break down, stating that everyone keeps saying that she's hurt, but Harley hugs Ivy and kisses her on the cheek, telling her, it's okay to be hurt, but I'm here now, so I can hurt with you. Bruce tells Ivy that she needs to release everyone, and Ivy says that she can't. She has to make the world better. And Selina then says that those men aren't coming back. They're dead. You killed them. They died in the park. They stay in the park. But you're the one who left the park. Bruce asks, what do you mean in the park? Wait, Ivy didn't kill any men in the park. Riddler did. I examined those bodies. They had bullet wounds that traced back to the Riddler's gun. Based on the blood flow, they had been hanging for at least 30 minutes. Ivy begins to say, but Riddler said that I was the one. And Bruce stopped her, telling her, he lied. That's what villains do, they lie. Ivy shakes her head, stating that she has to save the world. It's broken. Harley kneels down, telling her that she knows she will, but today, why don't they just save Ivy, okay? Ivy begins to cry, grabbing Harley, stating that he lied to her. And later that night, as Bruce and Selina get ready for bed, Bruce's phone goes off and he says that Superman said that Ivy arrived safely at Sanctuary. They're gonna do what they can for her. Selina asks if she's going to be okay, and Bruce tells her that 7.6 billion people were in her head. When she let them all go, everything that she's been through, I'm not sure. She climbs on top of Bruce, asking, what about us? After all we've been through and are going to go through. Bruce tells her, well, we've already had the entire world against us, and here we are. Selina then asks, are we gonna be okay? And Bruce tells her, yeah, Cat, we're gonna be fine.
Now in the final days before the wedding, there's another man who knows just what to get them. The Joker. As a man prays at Gotham Church, he asks, God, please preserve me from the wickedness of that violent man who appeared on my wedding day. Gunshot after gunshot can be heard as the man moves from one guest to the next, until finally he reaches the man praying. Just like the others, there's one last bang, and the bats within the chapel flutter away. The Joker looks around with his gun, singing, na 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 Batman! Just then, Batman bursts into the church by jumping through the window, and Joker grabs the soon-to-be wife, shouting, wait! I have a hostage! Batman stands still, and Joker says, if you move 1 inch, even 1 inch, I'm going to! And suddenly there's a bang, and the soon-to-be wife falls to the ground. The Joker looks at the woman, stating, huh? Or maybe I won't. Oops. Is there anyone else alive? I need a hostage so Batman won't punch me. Batman runs forward, jumping, kicking Joker, and then punching him to the ground. As Batman pins him down, Joker puts his gun to Batman's head, telling him, wait, I do have a hostage. Let's try this again. If you move 1 inch, and wait. We need to be careful this time, because if I shoot Batman, Batman's going to punch me. Batman stares, and Joker goes on. You know, I'm glad you're here. I was trying to think of a way to get in touch with you, but nothing came to mind. And then it occurred to me, I should go to a church and kill everyone, so Batman will come at me. Now, since I'm already in a church, which is convenient, there's people in it and they're inconvenient, so I've got to go downtown, but the traffic was. Just then there's another bang, and as Batman falls backwards, the Joker tells him, oh, coconuts, I did it again! A few moments pass, and the Joker says, hey, Batman, are you dead? If you are, raise your hand and shout, I am very dead. If not, just open your eyes furiously. Batman opens up his eyes, and Joker says, Kevlar cow, clever. And Batman springs from the ground, kicking the Joker in the face. He gets back to his feet, rubbing his head, and then the Joker begins to tell the story of how this whole thing reminds him of his mother. He tells him of how much he loved her, and how she was shouting, "Don't kill me, please, it hurts so much!" Joker begins firing, and as he stops for a moment, he says, "Wait, that was his mother! I cut her tongue out so early in the process! So whose mother was that?" While the Joker thinks, a batarang is thrown into the side of the Joker's face, and he falls backwards onto the ground. He leans up, pulling the batarang out, telling him, "You know, I used to call these people to help clean up messes after I got done killing people. Except when they would show up, I would kill them too! So basically, it solved nothing. If anything, I made it worse. You see the problem here?" Batman begins to walk forward, and the Joker looks around. He says, "I need another hostage. Oh, how about myself?" He gets up, holding the gun to his head, yelling, "If you move 1 inch, I will." He stops and tells Batman, "I remember my mother told me a story of Constantine. She used to say that there were 2 powers in the world. Good and evil, God and Satan, Batman and Kite Man. The life was about choosing between the 2. And then I had a revelation. And Mother said that it was a really good one. 1 power, 1 divinity, and nothing else. There was salvation so long as you would head towards it. Remember that everything else is just chaos." He walks over to the altar and he kneels down, telling Batman, "Come, kneel with me." He places his hands together, holding the barrel of the gun under his chin. And he says, "Amen." And Batman does the same. Joker goes on asking, "Am I gonna be your best man?" But before Batman can even answer, there's an explosion and the 2 men are thrown back. As the smoke begins to clear, Joker coughs, telling him, "Oh, right! I forgot to tell you I put a bomb on the cross! I thought it would be a little funny." As Batman doesn't move, Joker gets to his feet and he kneels down next to Batman's body, telling, "Love is the true north. Love is salvation. Love is paradise. Head toward it. And remember, everything else is chaos." As he points his gun and fires, the bang rings out from the church, and outside, Selina listens. She says, "Stay here, Cat. He's not like anyone else, Cat. He's too dangerous, Cat. He'll hurt you, Cat. He'll kill you, Cat. Stay here, my love. Please." But her response to the last things that Bruce said to her was to jump off the roof. A few moments later, the Joker asks, "Remember the old days? Penguin and the umbrella? Is that a gun or a helicopter? Riddler and the puzzles? Ivy and the plants, Scarecrow and the gas, and you and the cats, me and the smile. It was all so much fun. But do you know what was odd about the whole thing?" Selina tightens her grip on her whip, asking what? And Joker goes on stating that it was all fun. "We all used to laugh. And you never laughed." Selina tells him that he's right, it is odd. Joker begins to shoot at her, and she ducks behind one of the pews. And then she jumps out, cracking her whips, grabbing one of Joker's legs, and pulls it out from underneath him. He falls, and she lunges towards him, swiping, ripping right through Joker's throat. But not before he can get another shot off at her stomach. Several minutes pass, and Selina asks, "Why does the Penguin have an umbrella? Is that even a thing?" Joker holds his neck, keeping the blood from flowing out, telling her, "I always thought it was a tuxedo. Penguins do have tuxedos. You know, like the movie where the man dances. He has a tuxedo with an umbrella." He points his gun at Selina and he tries to shoot, but every pull of the trigger, all the 2 hear is click, click. She tells him that it is not an umbrella, he had a cane, or at least she's pretty sure it was a cane. Joker lets go of his gun, telling her, "Well, I'm not so sure then." More time passes and Selina says that she would have figured that he would have asked him at some point. They always seem close. Joker laughs, telling her, "No, I was close to Harvey. Harvey was close to Oswald. Oswald was so straight about things. I myself always related to more crooked fellows. Harvey, though, bless him, he could go both ways." Selina groans, telling him, "Yeah, Harvey held a lot of them together. People forget. He's underrated. Always thought that he was the dark horse to get Batman. She saw him in Arkham." Joker asks, "Oh yeah? How's he holding up?" And Selina tells him, "You know, he could still go both ways." As the 2 lay there holding their wounds, neither willing to move for fear of bleeding out, Joker asks Selina if she can do him a favor, and she says sure. He then says, well, he's out of bullets, but he has more in his left pocket, and he can't get to it and reload without letting his artery bleed out. If she could reach into his pocket and get it, let him reload, he'll shoot her stupid face off. She tells him, yeah, if she does that, then she would bleed out and die. Then what would be the point of shooting her? Joker laughs. Okay, that's true. So, how long would I have if I used both hands? A few seconds? You wouldn't be able to defend yourself. She tells him, yeah, she's pretty helpless. He would have to move fast, though. He might live long enough to do it. Silence fills the air, and Joker asks, why didn't you ever laugh with us? Weren't you having fun? And Selina tells him that he knows how it is. Whatever they did, he was better and they kept losing. She only laughs when she's winning. And right now, all she is doing is dying. Joker then says that he heard that she was getting married. Congratulations! Is it going to be a big wedding? Like all the superheroes gathered around? Because that would be nice. Selina says that she's not sure, they haven't talked about it. And the Joker yells, "You should talk about it! These things can't be done at last minute. Trust me on that." She then says that she got a dress, but she did steal it. And Joker asks, "Does he know?" Selina sighs, telling him, no, he would be mad. And Joker tells her that he hopes that he lives long enough to see her in it. That is to say, bury you in it, obviously. More time passes and the Joker says, "We all loved him. We wanted him to love us, but he never did. Instead, he loved you. Why?" Selina rolls over, stating because she's prettier than them. And Joker asks, "Are you now?" She laughs, stating that all they ever do is talk about Batman. They're obsessed over him. But none of them knew him. She knew him. Joker then says, "Well, I created Batman. Chaos for his order. I gave Batman meaning. I held him as the rain came and we laughed. I heard him. I know Batman." After a few moments, Joker says that she knows that if they do get married, Batman would lose the frown on the costume, right? All of it will be gone. He can't be happy and be Batman. Selina doesn't respond, and after several more moments, Joker rolls over stating, "It's time." And Selina tells him no, it's not. He begins to get up, telling her, "Before you get married, I have to save him. I'm sorry to say, he liked you, loved even, wishes all the best. But we must save Batman. We need him on the rooftops, the alleys. Him to say how much of a horror he is to hit me." Joker takes his hand off his throat and begins to bleed as he loads his gun, blood pouring down his shirt. He points it at Selina, stating that he needs Batman to stop him. If she makes him happy, if he isn't Batman, it's just not fun! But before Joker can pull the trigger, his eyes roll into the back of his head and he falls next to Selina. A few moments pass, and as Selina holds his body, Bruce wakes up asking if she's okay. The Joker poisoned and paralyzed him, but I can fight through it. Just don't move until I get there. We're gonna make it. That I swear. Whatever the Joker wanted, he didn't get it. But Selina, she begins to laugh. And it begins to get louder and louder. A few days later, at the top of the Finger Tower, Kite Man proudly stands tall, yelling, "Kite Man!" And then he's punched off the ledge by Batman, asking, "Why don't we just do it tonight?" Selina kicks Kite Man in the head, stating, "Okay, where and when?" Batman tells her, "How about here? Maybe at dawn? That'll give us time to prepare. I can get a judge so that all we will need is 2 witnesses. Maybe we could each bring one." Selina tells him that it's good, or rather that would be perfect. Kite Man leans up yelling, "Hell yeah!" Later at Porky's bar, Judge Wolfman tells the barkeep that it's been a long day. How about another? The barkeep says, You know what they say. Gotham is Batman? Wolfman looks down, stating, "No, it's Gotham is a mystery." And Bruce says, "Judge Wolfman." Meanwhile, over in Arkham, a voice tells Holly Robinson that they have made some payments and she'll be moved to Block 3-7, but along the way. Holly says that they'll get into trouble, and the voice tells her they always get into trouble. A few seconds later, a guard unlocks Holly's cell, stating that they've got orders to transfer her. Please step away from the door. Later in the West Wing of Wayne Manor, the bookshelf slides open and Holly asks if she can take off the blindfold now. It's starting to itch. Selina tells her that it's bad enough that she's got to explain that they both knew his secret since the street. But if she has to tell him that she showed someone the secret way to the manor, well, there might not be much of a wedding after that. Selina takes off the blindfold, and as Holly looks around, she asks, "This is his house? Wait, this is your house?" Over in the East Wing, the grandfather clock whips open as Bruce and Alfred walk through. Alfred asks if there's a time set for the event. Bruce pulls back the cowl, telling him, "It'll be at dawn. We'll grab a witness and Judge Wolfman will preside. To avoid risking the Wayne identity, the marriage has to be kept secret from the public. By dawn, Wolfman will be too drunk to even remember what he said or signed." Alfred then says that's romantic. And the location? Bruce takes a bite of his sandwich, stating, "A rooftop in the South Gotham. Before you ask, it's where we were and where we'll always be." Later in the bedroom, Holly fixes Selina's purple and black dress, and Selina says that it's not supposed to do that. She should have gotten something less complicated. Holly continues straightening the other parts out, telling her to just relax, it's almost done. And Selina says that maybe she should just go get another dress. And Holly tells her that she already said, "Wait, there, take a look, because you're just lovely."
Over in the other bedroom, Alfred fixes Bruce's tie, and Bruce says that he really hates these things. It's too tight. How am I supposed to move in this? Alfred straightens out Bruce's jacket, telling him that every night he wears molded leather bat suits. As he performs feats of astonishment, he'll be fine. Bruce then says that I look like my father. And Alfred steps back and smiles, telling him, you most certainly do. Once the two get ready and they step out of their bedrooms, Bruce and Selina see each other. But before Selina could even say that they shouldn't see each other, they run down the hallway and they kiss. After finally going back to their rooms, Holly takes a sip of her wine, stating that she can't believe it. That's him, Batman. Selina asks, what? Not what you expected? And Holly tells her that it's just so crazy. They've both known him since the beginning. It's just strange to see him like this. Selina then asks, what do you mean? And Holly says, happy. He always seemed to need his misery to do what he does. Selina pauses for a moment, and then she asks, what? Over in Bruce's room, Alfred asks, as for a witness, should I call Master Dick or perhaps Master Clark? Bruce looks at his phone, telling him, no, I was thinking it could be you. If you're free, since it's always been the two of us, I can't really do anything without you. Really never could, nor will I ever. Alfred stares for a moment in silence, and then he sits down next to Bruce, and he hugs him. Once the two finish getting ready, Holly drives Selina to the location, and Holly asks if everything's okay. Selina sighs, stating that she wrote him a letter, but she never finished it. She hasn't written to him since Arkham, when they confessed. There's so much that she needed to tell him, and it's so hard to say it. They've always been so tired, and when they aren't tired, they're out there. Selina waits for a moment and then asks, am I a hero now? Holly smiles, telling her, of course, right? After all that's happened, don't you have to be? Over with Bruce, Alfred asks if everything's all right, and Bruce looks out the window, stating, I wrote Selina a letter. We never have time anymore. I wanted to tell her everything. Bruce looks at Alfred and he asks, Can I be happy? Alfred tells him after everything that he's done, everything that he's endured and suffered, to go another day. Don't you have to be? Later, as Selina sits on the rooftop, she thinks about the letter that she left on Bruce's computer. As the makeup starts to run, she stands, taking off her veil, and she jumps. Meanwhile, over at Finger Tower, Bruce waits with Alfred and Wolfman, and Wolfman says that if they wait another hour, he's going to need another drink. Bruce thinks back to the letter that he left for Selina on the bed, and he takes off his tie, and he jumps. Later, back at Arkham, Holly makes her way down the hall, stating that Selina brought her back and locked her up just before leaving. She was devastated but determined, as you said that she would be. But him? She didn't get a chance to see him. Bane sits on a mound of skulls surrounded by Gotham's most feared villains, and he tells her not to worry. The bat is broken. And that's the wedding of Batman and Catwoman. A simple letter, a simple thought, ended everything. Because Batman can't be happy, and Catwoman realized that after talking to Joker. The final words, the words that she left to him on his computer, the letter. Towards the end of it, she stated, You're still the child, Bruce, a hurt child. These past months, the desert, the boy, Superman, Wonder Woman, Ivy. But what you do with that hurt, I saw the hero that made you. And then, as if to prove what I saw, Booster, a world of horror because you were content. Joker, knowing if you had settled, you couldn't stop him. You're an engine that turns pain into hope. If we're happy, and we could be so happy, if I help that lonely boy with those lonely eyes, I kill that engine. I kill Batman. I kill the person who saves everyone. And how can I do that? How can I love you so much and look into your eyes? Into that endless blue, that gorgeous blue that calls to me, knowing to save the world, heroes make sacrifices. That's the lesson of every story. I wish I could give my life, but I can't. I have to give more. My sacrifice is my love. It's you. As Bruce's limo pulls up to Gotham South Courthouse, reporters swarm around him asking what does he make of the situation. He waves to them as he heads up the steps, stating that he's just here to do his civic duty. Like a lot of them, he's a citizen of Gotham too. But this case is a little different. It isn't about some random thug that he would be on the jury for. This trial is for Freeze, and how Batman brought him to justice. Or is it?
The court goes through the juror selection, and just as Bruce thought, he was picked to attend the trial as juror number 4. The jurors head to their hotel rooms for the night, and they wake up bright and early for the first day of the trial. Freeze's lawyer tells the jurors that out of the opening statement, the best prosecution the DA has is flimsy at best. There are only 3 dead women: Elizabeth, Maureen, and Christie. Tragic, but let me be clear. There is not one piece of evidence that the police have gathered. In fact, the coroner based all of this evidence collected by the city ruled that these women sadly suffered from a random blood clot that entered their brains. They died of natural causes. That was the ruling, not murder. That was until Batman came along. Jim Gordon takes the stand and the lawyer asks, "So this case is all based on Batman's theory and not the city's theory that these women were killed by Freeze, correct?" Jim says, "Well, yes, but..." The lawyer speaks over him, telling him, "Batman told you that there was a slight temperature drop in each of these women's brain stems, correct?" Jim tells him yes, they were able to confirm that with an independent. The lawyer then speaks over him again, stating, yes, but that was after Batman had inspected the body, correct? And is Batman licensed to perform autopsies before the GCPD? Jim begins to get frustrated by the lawyer's wording, stating the coroner missed what had, but the lawyer stops him, asking, "Please answer the question, Mr. Gordon." So Jim sighs and sits back, telling him no, Batman is not licensed. As the court breaks for lunch, Bruce sits with the other jurors as they sit and discuss their current situations with their families, and Bruce remains quiet. One of the women then says that her husband is going to be mad if they're going to be a while, and another woman says to tell her husband that if he wants a fight, he'll have to pick it with Batman. The table laughs, but Bruce gets up and excuses himself. As he stands in the men's room, he looks at one of the urinals and begins to rip it off the wall. He takes it and throws it against the other side of the men's room, and he screams. And soon after, the court resumes and Harvey Bullock is brought up for questioning. The lawyer asks when Mr. Freeze was found, there was a note pinned to him. It read, "He did it, ask him." But there was no signature. Did the GCPD know where this note came from? Harvey says that no, there was no signature, but they knew who this came from. Next, Mr. Freeze himself takes a stand, and his lawyer says that he confessed after the doctors had to revive him, right? And Freeze says yes. The lawyer then asks what did he confess to, and Freeze tells him that he murdered 3 women as a part of an experiment. He has fought Batman many times before. He did not hesitate to admit that, but this time he was a different man that night. On the roof, he didn't care that he hadn't done it, that those women had nothing to do with him. Batman just kept hitting him so much that he thought Batman was going to kill him. As closing statements end, the jurors head into the next room to deliberate, and one of the jurors says that now that that's over, seems pretty cut and dry. Any initial thoughts? Everyone begins to discuss times that Batman had saved the city, and even themselves. The juror then says, "Okay, seems pretty clear where we all stand, so let's take a vote on who thinks Mr. Freeze is guilty." Everyone begins to raise their hands, and the juror says, "Okay, since this needs to be unanimous, anyone think that he's not guilty?" No one in the room raises their hands, except Bruce. One of the female jurors says, "Okay, then how about we go over the 3 key pieces of evidence? First, 3 deceased women all had lowered brain temperatures. That was the cause of death. The police missed it and Batman caught it, and then it was later confirmed by a third party. Secondly, the police found Mr. Freeze defeated by Batman while wearing his suit and in possession of his freeze gun, something his probation specifically prohibited. Third, and the most damning, he confessed to the police after he was caught. He said he was experimenting on the women, which was a part of his plan to revive his wife. Everyone else begins to call out that there's no way that this couldn't have been Freeze, so how about they hurry this up and just go home? Considering some of them have actual jobs and they don't live a playboy lifestyle, Mr. Wayne, this should already be over. The facts are the facts. It's what happened. Isn't that enough? Bruce leans back and he says, "No, that's not enough. There are 3 facts. I don't disagree with them, but maybe we need more context. Why don't we go over these 3 facts, each in turn, and give the context? Give me an hour or 2, and at the end, if we're still here, I'll change my vote. Fair?" One of the female jurors says that that's fair, better than a hanging jury. How about they take a 5-minute break? When they get back, they'll get started. Once everyone leaves and comes back, Bruce goes over the moment in the trial when Jim took the stand. He wasn't happy about how clearly the lawyer pointed out that his own people didn't catch it. Then comes along Batman. Hours later, they re-examine the bodies. At that point, Batman noticed the temperatures and he saw a pattern. 3 women around the age of Freeze's wife, all killed in a manner that suggests an experiment. Batman made his own conclusions, which are now the police's conclusions, and he starts his hunt. Question is, why did the GCPD miss something that Batman caught? One of the jurors says that that's because Batman is Batman. He's better than the GCPD. He just does it better, right? And Bruce says, right.
But maybe there's something else. These women, what if they died because of the clots, and later someone created the remnants of a decrease in temperature? Your explanation is that Batman saw something that Gordon's people didn't. Why did Gordon miss it? Why did Batman catch it? Bruce slams his fist down, shouting, "Why? You're convicting a man on assumptions. If there are alternative assumptions that make just as much sense, then what is the actual simplest explanation that actually makes sense? The corridor was good. Gordon confirmed it. He should have seen it. So maybe the corridor missed something that wasn't there. And maybe Batman says it because it was. But if it wasn't there, then Freeze didn't do it, and Batman went after the wrong man. Then there's the costume. Freeze claimed on the stand that he was told by an underground source, whom he refuses to name, that he was told that Batman was coming for him. So he went for his costume, rebuilt his freeze gun, and he risked his parole going back to Arkham because he's afraid of Batman. So he leaves his house, where he's under house arrest, to basically find Batman before Batman can find him, to defend himself, so he says. Another juror says that it's all bullcrap. He was up to something. If he was scared of Batman, he should have stayed in his house. But Bruce tells him, because a guilty man runs. He should have let Batman come to him to talk to him about the crime. But have we actually ever seen anyone talk to Batman? For years, these two have been fighting, not talking, fighting. The prosecutor, not even in the defense, noted this. We've seen pictures. Freeze has had dozens of plans for Gotham, and all of them have ended the same way: a punch, a kick, a knockout blow. Now Freeze gets information that Batman suspects him again. What do you expect Freeze to do? To wait? To talk to Batman? They don't talk. What evidence did Freeze have that Batman was coming over for a friendly chat and not another fight? We're here to convict a man beyond reasonable doubt. We can't convict him of putting on a suit, not if we doubt that Freeze is lying about the information. Finally, his confession. If Freeze was so scared of Batman, why did he confess and keep confessing long after the threat was gone? Why? When I was young, a man killed my mother and my father. We were coming out of the movies and a man with a gun appeared. My father shouted and the man shot him. He then tried to take my mother's pearls and they got tangled up, so he shot her. I watched. The man ran, and when I fell to my knees, I screamed. As time went on, I tried to reach the very top. I was as happy as I could be, great friends, and I even had love. But then something happened. You lose something, and then you're 10 again, screaming for your parents. You would do anything to get away from the fright. What Batman did to Freeze, that level of violence, that cruelty, it didn't leave when Batman left, it stayed, and after that, Freeze said it himself. He wanted to get the hell out of there. This confession, it's after the beating. Whatever Freeze said, whoever Freeze said it to, that confession doesn't mean a damn thing. One of the jurors stands up and says that she can tell what he's trying to do. He wants them to doubt each one of the 3 pieces of evidence. Have them believe that Batman was wrong, bad, incompetent, horrible, or out of control. He's saying that Batman is not the hero that they, Gotham, think he is. Now, if he wants them to go along with that theory, he's going to need to prove it. Can he really, truly prove that? Bruce stares at the woman and tells her, yes, I can. He points at her blouse. And he says, I notice you're wearing a cross. The woman says that she believes in God, attended church for 20 years. Is that a problem, Mr. Wayne? And Bruce tells her no, never. But you've asked me here to show you today that Batman could have made a mistake. That perhaps that mistake has led to Freeze being falsely accused. So I find your cross, your belief, interesting, vital perhaps. The woman asks, do you believe in God, Mr. Wayne? Bruce tells her yes. That's just it. I used to. My father was a Christian. I believed that the Lord would protect him. Talked about things that we could control and the things that we can't. Later after that, I was upset. I put aside believing in a deity and started believing in something that could save my father. So I left Gotham for a while, searched for something to put my faith in, but ultimately I couldn't find anything. Instead of looking for something to believe, I wanted for something to come and find me. We all live here, and we all know that this is a place for monsters, for demons. There he is. Every shadow is met, every horror put down. As citizens of Gotham, we watch as Batman beats back the bullies. A man with a bat on his chest is keeping us safe. After my parents died, I sought transcendence. I found Batman. The woman then asks, your argument for why Batman may have made mistakes with Freeze is because you think Batman is God? And Bruce says, if we define God as the infallible, the responsible, the one who determines life and death, then yes, that would be my argument. I thought Batman was God. How many of you here are here because of Batman? Without his help in this city, how many of you would be in a grace? All of the jurors remain quiet, and then all of them raise their hand, including Bruce. Bruce goes on stating, based on that belief, you have no right to sit here in judgment of Batman. He is perfect, you are not. Your lives are his and you worship him. You let Freeze go and rot and ignore any doubt, all because Batman decided it. His will is your law. God is above you. He wears a cape. You trust him and trust that he was right and he's so good. He's the world's greatest detective, right? Bruce walks over to grab a cup of water, and after taking a drink, he looks back asking, "Who are you?" He takes a seat asking everyone, "Have any of you have read the book of Job?" Because that's what God said to him, right? God tore this man's life away, burned his farm and his children. And Job gets angry and asks God why. And God tells him, "I created the mountains and the miracles, and you're questioning me. You, who are you?" Bruce hangs his head, stating, "I was hurt recently. I had for years put every fiber of my being into Batman because he was good. Good enough to protect me from all of the pain. My mother, my father, this city, my life, everything. It worked. After many years, I had something that I never thought I could have, and I was happy. And then it all fell. Everything falls. And so did I. I screamed as loud as I could, and my scream was a prayer to Batman to catch me. I fell and I begged, and now I'm still waiting. And I'll always be waiting. Batman is not God. He tries, but he fails, and then he tries again, but he can't. He does not provide solace from pain. He does not give you an eternity. He cannot comfort you for the love you've lost. God blessed your souls with grace. Batman punches people in the face. The 12 of you sit here with power over Freeze's freedom. That is godlike power. You know still that you yourselves are not sovereign, that you are righteously constrained by your own humanity. You must approach this sacred task with some humility, knowing that your wisdom will forever be scarred by your perspective. You know that. Then you know him. He's not perfect. He's just you, but in a leather bat suit. Your decision here must be made beyond a reasonable doubt. And the facts show that we doubt Batman, and therefore we doubt this case. So my argument is this: no matter what he does, behind the cape, behind the cowl, the bat and everything, he is a damn person. And because he is a person, a man, Batman can make mistakes. We are not Job talking to God. We are the citizens of the city speaking to another citizen. However good he is, we can be just as good. However flawed he is, we can be just as flawed. Don't turn Batman's mistakes into a damnation of an innocent man. If you condemn Freeze for Batman's error, you condemn Batman. You say guilty, and you put the bat into the same cold cage. You all raised your hands when asked if he saved you. Now it's your time to save him. And so, the jurors take another vote, and it was unanimous. Freeze was set free. As Bruce leaves the court, he talks to Alfred, stating that he's going out. Prepare the original suit. He doesn't want to wear the suit that he was in when Alfred tells him yes. And Bruce then says that he needs to get back to he is lost. He needs to remember who he is, who Batman is. As the next person in line walks up to the Gotham Airport immigration desk, the woman at the counter asks the man coming up for his passport. The man hands it over, and the woman looks at it, and she says, "Mr. Zimmerman, welcome to America and welcome to Gotham. What is the purpose of your visit?" Mr. Zimmerman says business, and he holds out his prosthetic arm, stating that he works for Foundation. It helps country people who have lost limbs. There is a fundraiser that he'll be attending. The woman stamps the passport, stating that that's great to hear. That's a really good thing to do. Mr. Zimmerman takes the passport, and he says that he hopes so. But as the bat signal shines over Gotham, Batman and Nightwing get to work patrolling the streets. As the two sit on top of a nearby building, Nightwing says, Mamma mia, Mommy, Daddy, and me!" All of which Bruce says, "No, no, no." The two jump down to fight back the rise of the mummy creatures. And Nightwing says, "You were never one for puns. Instead, all you do is grunt and look sad." Batman knocks out on Mummy, telling him, "Do not grunt and look sad. I just don't want to say funny things when I fight." Nightwing says, "Okay, for the sake of argument, how about you just grunt instead?" Nightwing hits a Mummy, and Batman grunts. And then Nightwing grunts, stating, "See? Boring." But while Batman and Nightwing make sure that Gotham is a little safer, Mr. Zimmerman stops by a gun store, telling the clerk that he would like to buy a rifle. The clerk says they have a lot of rifles. He's gonna have to be a bit more specific. Mr. Zimmerman reaches into his coat and he takes out a small photo and he slides it to the clerk. Clerk picks it up and says, "Oh, that's very specific. I can do it, but it's not going to be cheap." Mr. Zimmerman tells him that he understands, but he has the money. The clerk finishes his cigarette, and he blows smoke through his nose, stating, "Hip hip hooray." "So, you want to wait for the government checks to come in, or would you rather pay the late-night expedited special?" Mr. Zimmerman tells him expedited, please. Next, Mr. Zimmerman goes to an all-night diner and he orders a hot dog. While sitting and listening to the people coming and going, he takes out a pen and he begins to write down something. He then pays his tab, and he heads out, leaving behind the note. As the rain starts to come in, Mr. Zimmerman heads to an apartment and he knocks on the door, ringing a random person. A short while later, the man opens the door up, shouting, "It's 3 a.m. How many times is he going to ring the damn bell?"
Mr. Zimmerman tells the man that he's sorry, but his mother lives on the 8th floor and she isn't answering. He wanted to make sure that everything was okay. The man sighs and he lets Mr. Zimmerman in, and as he gets to the 8th floor, he knocks on a door to his mother's apartment. Moments later, Mr. Zimmerman grabs a man by the throat and he squeezes as he holds him down. The man struggles to try and pull the hand off of his neck, but slowly he loses his strength and he lets go. With no more distractions, the man walks over to the window and he unlocks it. He drops his duffel bag, taking out the rifle, and he begins to set it up, perching himself at the window as he takes aim. Meanwhile, back with Batman and Nightwing, they respond to a signal that Gordon put out, and the two ask, "How can we help?" Gordon lights his pipe, stating that he found something at a diner over in Midtown, a napkin left on a table. The message on it read, "Who's afraid of the Joker?" And the question mark at the end was oversized. Batman says that it's the anniversary of the end of the war, but Joker and Riddler are still in Arkham, or at least they're supposed to be, being checked out. Nightwing then yells, "That's the problem for Napkin Man, I just don't." But before he could finish, there's a sound, and Nightwing reacts to a shot in his head. His head falls back, and the blood splatters. And from across the way, Mr. Zimmerman lowers his rifle as Gordon shouts to get a medical team up there. Mr. Zimmerman shuts the window, packs the rifle, and he leaves. The next day, a man sits on his couch, slowly nodding off when he suddenly hears banging at his front door. A voice in Russian calls out that he can hear his fat wheeze through the wood. Put the gun down and open the door. The old man grabs his shotgun and fires at it, blowing a hole through it, stating that it's open. The door is then kicked in and the old man looks up, stating, "Talia." Mr. Zimmerman says, "Father." Back in Gotham at the same store that Mr. Zimmerman brought his rifle from, Batman simply tells the man, "Run." The clerk runs and jumps out the front window. As he gets back up, Batman stares at the glass, throwing a batarang that wraps around the clerk's neck, pulling him back in. Later at the Batcave, Batman says that the clerk confirmed his suspicion. The shooter isn't Holy, KGBeast. Alfred asks, "Can you find him?" And Batman says, "Beast is a professional killer, unlike any other, perhaps the best." Alfred sighs and says, "Master Dick, sir, can he be found?" And Batman says, "He can, and I will." Back in the cabin in Russia, Beast asks his father how long has it been since his last drink, and his father says 26 years. Beast picks up a bottle, looking at it, asking, "That long, huh? Whenever I could remember you, you always had a drink. Always raging through the house, face red with a bottle in hand. They had a name for it when you started the hard beatings." The Beast pours 2 shots and he goes, "The Beast." Beast then picks up his glass, stating, "To the Beast." And his father looks at the glass and with shaky hands grabs it, stating, "The Beast." And he drinks it. As Beast's father pours another glass, he asks what happened to his arm. And Beast says, "You know the Batman, yes?" Beast's father goes to the drink asking, "Did he take it?" And Beast tells him, "No, he tried though." Beast motions like he has a knife, stating, "I had to cut it off to escape." Beast's father asks, "So Batman had 2 arms and you have 1. And Beast drinks again, stating, "I escaped." Beast's father smacks the glass out of his hand, stating, "I raised you to be a man, but I can see you're still a little boy." Beast then pours the last of the bottle for his father, asking, "More?" And Beast's father tells him, "If you have more, then why not?" His father sighs, telling him, "You were always prepared, but I would have figured that you would have taken the man's arm." Beast himself reaches into his bag, saying, "Well, I did take something else recently. I took Batman's son and a lot of money for the privilege of doing it." His father says, "The son and the money, that's good, but an arm would still have been better." Beast pulls a gun out of the bag and he says, "An arm is important to a man. What good really is a son?" But a short distance away from the cabin, against being told not to, Batman marches in the storm. Over the radio, Alfred tells Batman that he should come back. He's beginning to lose signal. "Please respond. Master Bruce, please." But as the radio goes silent, all Batman can hear is the sound of crushing snow beneath his boots as he continues to walk. Over in the cabin, Beast's father takes another drink, asking, "Why do you keep me alive? You killed the rest, your brothers, your sisters, your mother, why not me?" Beast tells him, "Because they were weak and you were strong. I loved you, I still love you." Beast's father scoffs, telling him, "For that, you are weak. But that is my fault. I let you be weak because I loved you too." His father finishes pouring the next drink and suddenly there's a loud bang as he's shot in the head. Beast lowers his gun, picks up the glass and takes the drink. And as he finishes, he hears the sound of crushed snow getting louder. He sets his glass down and he takes aim with his gun at the boarded up door. As Batman reaches the cabin, he reaches for the door, but suddenly ducks as a bullet is shot through at him. Beast unloads the rest of his clip at the door, and with one of them hitting Batman in the shoulder. Beast then pulls the trigger until he hears it clicking. He looks out the window and hears the sound of crunching snow, and then a batarang is thrown in, hitting the prosthetic arm. The two men groan as they look at each other, and Batman throws another batarang, with Beast jumping through the window at Batman. Beast pins Batman to the ground, and Batman gets his foot into Beast, flipping him over. As the two get back up, Beast swings his prosthetic arm, cutting into Batman's face with a hooked end. As Batman gets back up, Beast punches him down again, and he kicks his body across the snow. Beast then walks over, looks down, and starts to kick Batman in the head. As Beast gets ready to end it, Batman reaches for his belt, taking out his grappling hook, firing it upward, hitting Beast in the chin. A loud snap can be heard, and Beast falls backwards onto the ground, motionless. As the snow begins to set in around him, he tells him, "My neck is broken." And Batman tells him, "Yeah." Beast goes on telling him, "If you help me, I'll tell you who hired me to shoot the boy." Batman looks back telling him, "I've got a bullet in my arm and a body of hurt, and there's a 300-click walk ahead of me through nothing but snow and ice." He spits a mouthful of blood. Then he begins to walk away, stating, "I'm the world's greatest detective. I'm gonna find out who hired you and break them too. You can get your own damn help." Oswald Cobblepot, the Penguin, a man who has built an empire from nothing. Many would say that he wouldn't know what it feels like to feel loss, or what it would feel like to answer to a higher being. But as we watch the Penguin fight Batman and be placed into Arkham, we see that the Penguin does in fact answer to someone. And those men are Bane and Batman. As Penguin's men clap and cheer for the return of their boss, Penguin's mind is more focused on something else. The clapping slowly dies down, and Penguin asks, "Where is her body?" The Penguin's men bring him to the morgue, and they state that they didn't want to bury her yet. They didn't know what to do, so they waited for him to return. Penguin looks down at the coffin, telling them, "Sunday, at Gotham Gardens, get 2 plots near my grandfather. One for her, and one for me." As Sunday comes, the Penguin stands before the grave of Penny Cobblepot. Penguin bends down and he tosses a handful of dirt, stating that they all thought that she was small and silly. Just another thing to be passed around from man to man. The way that she was treated as if she was less than human. They never understood, they never even considered that maybe, just maybe, she had a soul. As the rain follows, Penguin walks back to his car, telling his men that their friend has expressed his disappointment with the freeze situation. Fortunately, we put some blame on Bruce Wayne, claiming some of how Gotham's first citizen manipulated the jury to help his pal, the Batman. We are to punish Mr. Wayne. Should we fail in this assignment, we are to be perceived as having failed with Freeze, and we will bear the next punishment. One of Penguin's men asks, "What are we gonna do to Mr. Wayne then?" And Penguin tells him, "No, nothing as dramatic as that. Our friend has plans for Mr. Wayne, but for us to earn back our lives, we'll have to kill Wayne's manservant." Later, atop the roof of the GCPD, Gordon lights his pipe asking, "How's the kid?" Because if you remember, my dear viewer, Nightwing was recently shot in the head and presumed dead at first. Not answering, Batman asks, "What do we have here?" Gordon goes on stating, "We had an officer like that one. He came back all the way. It was hard." Batman asks, again, "What do we have here?" Gordon takes a puff of his pipe, telling him, "Yeah, okay. Same as before. Clot, drop in temperature, one difference. Scene of the crime. On our third search, we got lucky and found something underneath the floorboard. Turned out to be a feather." Meanwhile, at the mansion, Alfred tends to his cleaning duties when he hears an alarm going off that there is an intruder. He heads over to the Simonson suite to find a small bird laying amongst a pile of broken glass. He kneels down to examine that bird, and as he looks up, he notices a red dot aimed directly at his forehead. Later, inside of Penguin's office, Batman tells him, "I know about." But before he could finish, Penguin holds up his hand to quiet him. Over the intercom, a man says that they have the Wayne Butler in their sights. Are they to pull the trigger? Penguin says, "No, I think not. Instead, kill yourself in the pilot. Now." The man tells him, "You got it." And there are 2 gunshots. Penguin looks back at Batman and tells him, "Please sit. We have much to discuss." A few moments later, Batman slams his hands down on Penguin's desk, telling him, "I don't believe you." Penguin lights his cigarette, telling him, "I have the evidence. How he's killed those 3 girls, tampered with the bodies." Batman tells him, "No, you knew about the 4 women that he killed." Penguin tells him, "My actions are irrelevant. Bane is essentially running Gotham from inside Arkham. In this capacity, has asked me to, on several occasions, help with several projects. These women, the Wayne manservant? Some minor trifles here and there. Likely he has others doing other projects, Batman. Batman stares at Penguin and tells him, no, Bane is in Arkham, in a cell. He is incapacitated. Penguin laughs. What a pathetic little man you are in a pathetic little costume. You have no idea what Bane is. Believe me or not, it is the truth. Meanwhile, over at Arkham Asylum, Bane curls up in his padded cell, asking, can I help you? Batman looks at him and tells him, get up. Bane covers his head. Please don't. Please, I don't want to hurt. Please don't hurt me anymore. Mommy, the waters are coming. Batman reaches down, grabbing Bane, asking him, did you not hear me? I know. Batman slams Bane against a wall and he tells him, please, don't hit me. Batman throws Bane across the cell, telling him, this deception is over. You've lost. As Batman begins to beat on Bane, he says, I know how you framed Freeze. Killed those women, tried to kill Alfred Pennyworth. Bane tries getting back up, begging Batman to stop, but Batman tells him it's not hard to see that he worked with the Beast. You shot my boy! And a loud crunch can be heard as Batman's boot kicks into Bane's face. Bane falls to the ground and Batman tells him, get up. Bane slowly gets back up, telling him, yes, please, just don't. But before he could finish, Batman punches him again. Batman grabs Bane by the head, telling him, say it, shout it proudly, I am Bane. Say it so I can tell you, I'm Batman. Batman grabs onto Bane's head, and as hard as he can, he headbutts him in the nose. Gordon kicks the door open, yelling, what the hell are you doing here? And Bane starts to ask for his mommy. Batman turns back shouting, Bane has captured Arkham. He is using it as a base to launch attacks against me. This is all an act. Gordon runs in, pulling Batman away, asking, are you insane? Bane has been under my watch ever since you put him into a catatonic state. Bane can't walk. He can barely talk. He hasn't even left his damn room. You need to calm down. This man is... But Batman, he turns, punching Gordon, yelling, I know what he is! Gordon wipes the blood from his mouth, telling Batman, get out. You are trespassing on city property. I will let you off with a warning if you leave now, but if you don't, all of the Gotham PD will descend upon you. And if that doesn't work, I'll just call the damned Justice League. You think you know better than us? Well, I'm getting pretty sick of you. Get the hell out of my sight. Batman leaves. Bane is taken out to be treated for his injuries. But as he lays there, he opens up an eye and he smiles. With no other clues to go on, Batman takes to the streets, tracking down all of those who have recently been in Arkham Asylum. First is Maxie Zeus, but as Batman beats him down, he doesn't get the answers that he's looking for. To make sure he didn't get out of hand, Batman captured Penguin and Alfred has been watching over him. Next on Batman's list is Firefly. Batman throws Firefly out of a building without his jetpack, and as Firefly screams, Batman slowly loads his grappling gun. With one carefully aimed shot, Batman begins to reel back on the wire, with Firefly screaming. Firefly shouts that he's only been in Arkham for months. He saw everything. Bane was just in his cell the whole time. He didn't even come out. Whatever you heard, it isn't true. You got to believe me. Batman presses the button and lets Firefly freefall, asking, do I? Following him was Kite Man, but all Batman could get was a hell yeah. And finally, with the last victim, Batman looks down at him, telling him to talk, and he doesn't say anything. But on the life of his child, stop hitting him. Yeah, he had a cell next to Bane, saw him every day, but he was broken. Just tucks himself into a corner crying all night. That's the truth, oh my. Before he could finish, Batman kicks him in the face. After not getting any of the answers he wanted, Batman heads back to the Batcave. And as he arrives, it's pitch black. Then he hears a groan coming from where Penguin was being kept. Batman hurries over and he finds Alfred on the ground, asking him what happened. And Alfred says that he's here. Batman shouts, asking who? And Alfred tells him, your father. Behind Batman, standing tall, is Thomas Wayne.
As blood rushes to Batman's head, he tells himself to open his eyes. He needs to open his damn eyes! Soon his vision comes back and it's still fuzzy. But that's good. He needs to evaluate and reassess the situation. What is it that he's seeing? Pig, the enemy. Okay. Now what is he doing? He's hanging, tied by ropes. How did he get here? How does he get out of here? He can see Pig talking. They always talk. Let them. Let the villains talk, but why can't he hear Pig? It doesn't matter. He needs to work on the ropes. The rope hates the knot. The knot wants to be straight, to be free. Listen to the rope. Let it guide you. Feel the movement.
Warm the fibers. Let it stretch. Work the rope. Let it give way. Good. After blinking, Batman sees blood splatter. Why does he see blood? Why is he screaming? Why can't he hear anything? What is going on? Blood. It's in his nose. It's in his mouth. Gathering in his throat. Stop screaming. Swallow the blood. Breathe the blood. Forget the blood. Focus on the rope. The rope is giving way. One finger is free. That's enough. Reach for the batarang tucked under your shirt. Now pull it. Carefully. And then saw. The rope, it's talking. Now it's screaming. Understand it. Sympathize. Thank it for its help. And cut. All right. Now he's free. Evaluate. Reassess. Pig is attacking. He is shouting. He is grunting. Why can't I hear him? Doesn't matter. Pig is getting closer. And now! Good. Knocked Pig away with a headbutt. This gives me time to cut the ropes and get my feet on the ground. Pig is still talking as he holds his knife. What is he saying? Doesn't matter. They all want the same thing. Day after day, week after week, year after year. I can't give it to him. I have to stop him, jump on him, tackle him. But no, jumping was foolish. That allowed Pig to stab me. That gave Pig an opening. Now there's a knife in my gut. It's okay. It'll be fine. I've been stabbed before. I'll survive. Stop moving. Gently grab the handle and pull. Not quickly though. Can't let it break off. Every inch of the metal slipping through the flesh. Feel it because it means I'm alive. Pig bows. Good. He surrendered his weapon. All he's lost is blood. Pig lost his weapon. Feel the balance of the blade. Judge it. Master it. Throw it. Batman throws, and as the shiny metal spins through the air, the handle hits Pig square in the forehead. Good. Pig is stunned, but he's laughing. Pig loves to laugh. Everything's a joke. Everyone's a joker. Everyone but me. I've won this fight. Press the boot on his chest. Apply pressure. Break a rib. Threaten to break his heart. Find out his plans. Find his helpers. Solve the mystery. He has to talk. No one wants pain. They ask for it, but they don't really want it. Press harder. Bend the bones under the boot. Wait! Any more and you'll kill him. Step back. Something's wrong. Why can't I hear Pig? Reassess. Evaluate the information. Understand what is happening. We're in a butcher shop. Blood. Tied up by a rope. A man in a mask. Pig. A knife. The knife. Pig has the knife. He traded the blood for the knife. Now Pig has the knife and all I have is blood. Okay. Pig is talking. Plan. Ignore the smell. Rancid corpses of all the slaughtered pigs. Evaluate. Reassess. How did I get here? How do I get out? Bane. It all started with Bane. Bane is running Arkham. Running the city. He put up an act. Made me hit Gordon. Talked with the inmates. They all denied it. Returned to the cave. Alfred was there on the floor wounded. He said something. Your father and then Master Bruce. Why? Forget Bane. Focus. There's a fight right here. Throw something. Batarangs, 2 of them. Twist the fingers. Let them spin. But Pig catches them. How? Am I that weak? Focus. I need to fight. What is Pig? A metaphor. A myth. A story. A dream. In ancient Cyprus, there was a sculptor named Pygmalion. He took a brick of marble and created the most wondrous woman. She was so beautiful that he prayed for her to be real, and then he kissed her lips. He was met with her warm lips. He broke away from the kiss and the woman smiled. They loved, and they lived happily ever after. Wait, that's it! It's just love. I fell in love. I saw the ideal. I saw his ideal. He built his ideal. From nothing, from a boy in an alley, to now. I prayed. For the second time in my life, I prayed. I went to the rooftop, but Dick Grayson was shot. Alfred isn't safe. Bane, Gordon, no one is safe. Let go of Pig. Ask him. Batman lets go, and Pig stands up, and Batman looks him right in the eye. How did I get here? How do I get out? Pig stares, and after a few moments he says, little pig, let me in. No, not by the hair in my chinny chin chin. He reaches for his mask, and he takes it off. It's not Pig, it's Damien. Reevaluate, reassess. A metaphor, a myth, a story, a dream. Everything changes. Finger Tower. He was going to leave. Then Selina appears. It was perfect. They kissed. And then there was Constantine. He said something. You're just another dream. At the end of this, she's going to die. No, he can protect her. Constantine worries too much. Go home, rest. be with Selina. But then he hears Constantine's voice again. A few more days, she'll be bleeding. No matter what you do, she's dead, and you know it. It doesn't matter. It's none of his business. Constantine shrugs while sitting in Batman's bathroom, stating, no, it's not. I'm just trying to help. I need to show Selina how to get to the cave. 10:48. Change the time to 10:48. The time it showed up. Constantine, he's here. He needs to leave. Get out. Constantine takes a drag from his cigarette, asking, what did you say, and what was the point? Be married. Have fun. Enjoy her while she's here. Enjoy all the beautiful, if temporary, comforts of love. Have a bloody ball. Live the dream. Hit him. Stop him from talking. Constantine could have been one of the greats if he wasn't such an idiot. Later, Constantine steps onto the roof. Batman holding Selina. She was shot. It could have been the Beast again, just like he shot Dick. Constantine lights his cigarette. You know that this is a dream, right? They have you strapped to a machine, using scarecrow gas to induce this, all of this, Batman. Whatever came before, whatever comes next, they're trying to drive you mad. Batman asks, are you here to help? To get me out? And Constantine tells him, no, I'm here because you can't get out. You'll never get out. You will go mad. Not that you'll remember it, but maybe next time. Batman says, you're not real. And Constantine tells him, no, I'm not. No one's here. In fact, you're quite alone. Just like everything else around you. Just another dream becoming a nightmare. Batman blinks and everything changes again. Now he's in a ballroom with Selina and he asks her to dance. Everything keeps changing. He's been having these dreams, these nightmares. Children killing children. Damien in a pig mask. Joker in a sewer. Her dead. Her talking. Her laughing. Selina tells him, you're trapped. How? Batman says, a while back I exposed myself to every variation of the Scarecrow toxins. I memorized the effects, how they work and how they feel. But this is different. My last memory before these effects took place was in the cave. Alfred, my father coming for me, just as I was coming for Bane. Bane controlled Arkham, controlled Scarecrow. One would assume that Bane and my father were working together. They isolated me, captured me, and injected me with the serum to try and drive me mad. Selina asks why, and Batman says, before this, the last time I saw him was during the Button investigation. The last thing my father said to me before he died was, don't be Batman. That's why they're together. Bane and my father share this motivation to stop me. Selina asks, will they? And Batman thinks, and he says, I need to get out of this dream. It took me some time to remember, but the first clue was when Constantine came to warn me. Constantine was part of me fighting back. And then I was struggling to get free. They must have increased the dosage. In experimenting with toxins, I found the solution. The toxin induces fear, but too much fear can overpower it. I just need to find a fear greater than this. Selina asks, what is your greatest fear? And Batman says, you left me. I read your note. It was a lie. I couldn't ask. I should have asked, but I was afraid. I should have asked you, why? She asks him, why? Isn't it obvious? Can't you see? It's your vow, your suicide. In that moment, you forswore love and chose war. You can't love anyone or anything other than the vow. Your greatest fear is your simple truth. You don't love me. Batman says, no, it's not true. Selina tells him that she's sorry. He doesn't know how sorry she is. He tries to think of something and he says, I love you, I have to. She pulls him close, telling him, no, my love, you don't. She kisses Batman on the cheek, stating, thank you for the dance. It was lovely, but the dream is done. It is time to wake up. Bats flutter and Batman calls out for her, shouting, no, cat! Everything is a dream. Everything that Batman has seen, everything that he's been through, it's all been a dream. No, it was a nightmare. A nightmare caused by Scarecrow's fear toxins. Focus on that. This is a dream. This is a dream, and it is time to wake up. And Batman screams, "Ah!" as he breaks free from all of the wires and tubes connected to him. But as he does, he hears a voice. Director of the company wakes early for a morning flight. He realizes that he forgot some papers at work, and he goes there. In the office, he meets the night watchman, who is leaving for him. The watchman stops the director and tells him that he shouldn't fly. I had a dream last night, he says. I saw you crash. I saw you die. The director heeds the advice, and sure enough, the plane goes down. The next day, the director returns and gives the watchman a generous bonus, then fires him. Why did the director fire the watchman?
Batman stumbles out of his mechanical prison and without saying a word, grabs the Riddler by the head and slams it down onto his knee with all of his strength, sounding off a loud crunch. The Riddler falls to the ground gasping for air, and Batman leaves as he says, "The night watchman said he had a dream last night. That meant he was sleeping on the job." Batman continues to walk through Arkham Asylum, brutally beating every villain that Bane has released, calling out to him, "Bane!" Batman asks, "Do you think this is enough? Nightmares? Do you expect me to curl up into a ball and cry for my mommy? Is this the marvelous plan? After all the years of being humiliated, time and time again being broken down, and your answer to it all was give me bad dreams? Do you even know what my life is? Do you have any conception of what I've been through? You challenge me with nightmares! I live the nightmare! Don't you understand? I'm Batman! I am the nightmare! And the next room, Mr. Freeze points his freeze gun at Batman, stating, Batman grabs the gun from Freeze's trembling hands, telling him, "You were a great professor, a smart man, so consider this. And let me ask you this. Wasn't it all a waste? Speaking scientifically." Freeze slowly steps back, stating, but before he could say freeze, Batman punches him, asking, "Isn't this easier?" The next area that Batman walks into, he shouts, "Scarecrow, show yourself! You smell of fear!" Scarecrow jumps down from the ceiling, spraying Batman in the face with his toxin, but Batman throws him off his back and into the wall. The hallway fills with the toxin, clouding Scarecrow's vision, and as he gets back up, he asks, "Batman?" Through the haze, Batman tells him, "It was your formula." And Scarecrow tells him, "You just took enough gas to panic a herd of elephants! As your doctor, I would strongly advise lying down. I would advise you surrender." Batman tells him, "I owe you for the insight on the new formula. I owe you for all the fun." He then raises up through the smoke, and seconds later, Scarecrow's screams can be heard all throughout Arkham. After that, Batman looks up at Amygdala and Solomon Grundy. The two men loom over Batman and he cracks his knuckles. "Yeah, okay." But he doesn't groan as he gets up, he laughs. He laughs as he walks away from the knocked out bodies of the two hulking monsters. After that, Batman punches Two-Face into the ground and the Harvey side cries out, "Please, no more, I surrender!" But the Two-Face side shouts, "Touch me again and I'll kill you!" Batman punches again, telling him, "Look, I've always liked you, Harvey. I can trust you, so I'm gonna trust you to deliver this message." He throws Two-Face against a wall and he asks again, "Can you do it?" Harvey tells him, "Yes, please stop!" And Two-Face yells, "Go to hell!" Batman grabs Two-Face by the collar, slamming him into the wall, yelling, "I was talking to Harvey!" Batman gets close and through his teeth he tells Harvey to give him a message. "Tell him that I wish to speak to him today, but I just woke up, so I'm a little tired. I'm going home, my home, in my city. But tomorrow I'm coming back, and I'm coming back with my army. So tell him, Harvey, tell him tomorrow we will talk." Batman releases his grip and he lets Two-Face slide to the ground. He walks out the doors. But later that night, as Batman sits at his computer, he hears the same words over and over again. "Intruder, intruder, intruder." He rubs his head as he looks up and then reluctantly grabs his mask, putting it on before walking upstairs. As he walks into the dining room, Bane sits at one end of the table, raising a glass. "Welcome home, Bruce." However, it isn't just Bane. Right behind him, in his own cowl and mask, is Thomas Wayne, Batman's father from another world, standing there with his arms folded. Bane tells him, "Please, have a seat." But Batman stands there telling him, "I'm gonna break your damn back." Bane grits his teeth, but he holds himself back, telling Alfred, "Maybe Bruce would feel more comfortable if we served him some food." Alfred says, "Yes, Master Bane." As Alfred walks over to Batman, he asks, "Would you care for some soup?" Batman doesn't answer, smacking the tray out of Alfred's hands. He then grabs the table, throwing it, calling out to Bane, "I'm gonna break your damn back!" Bane laughs and Batman punches him, with Bane punching back. The mansion wasn't the first place Batman went to. No, he made good on his word, and he assembled an army, and they struck. Except the hospital they attacked. It wasn't Arkham. At least it wasn't the Arkham that Bane had built up. After the attack on the hospital, Batgirl says that she saw it with her own eyes. She got into their servers, deep into their servers.
There's no record of anyone getting out of their cells. Bane was a wreck before he was beaten. Now he's comatose. Everything that Batman saw, everything that he claimed in the nightmares, never happened. Batman tells her, I saw my father. My father hurt Alfred. Talk to him. He'll tell you. Batgirl tells him, she did. At great length even. Alfred never saw Thomas Wayne. He never got hurt. He said after coming home he was worried. Ever since Catwoman. And Batman shouts, this is not about her! Tim steps back telling him, you're in a lot of pain right now. We get that. It's okay. That's just who we are. Tim reaches out and he places his hand on Batman's shoulder telling him, you have to let us in. Let us help, Bruce. Batman stares and tells him, I don't want your help. I don't need a damn thing. He pushes Tim's hand off and he punches him right in the face. But back in the current timeline at the mansion, lightning strikes and Batman jumps into attack. He punches Bane over and over again, each punch hitting harder than the last. Bane grabs Batman by the neck, but Batman breaks free, headbutting Bane with enough force to even knock him down. Blood begins to drip from the wound on his forehead, and as Bane lays there, he opens his eyes. He allows Batman the small victory, and he gets back to his feet, wrapping his arms around Batman's neck. He drags him through the house, throwing him into the portrait of him and his parents, and it shatters. Batman gets up, wiping the blood from his mouth, putting his fists ready to get back into it. He charges forward, knocking Bane into the next room. But Bane punches back, punching harder with each and every punch. The two go back and forth for what feels like hours until Bane kicks Batman in the head. Bane picks him up by the cape, slamming him headfirst into the wall, stunning him. Bane then picks up Batman's lifeless body, and he brings him down to his knee with a thundering crack. As Bane tosses Batman's body to the ground, Thomas steps out of the shadows, watching every second of what just happened. The following night, Batman is strapped to the back of a horse, while Thomas checks the lines to make sure that he's secure. He sings to himself as he hops up on the saddle, and he pulls on the reins to get the horse going. They begin to walk forward. Over Thomas's singing, the sound of a coffin being dragged in the sand can be heard behind him. The next morning, Thomas wakes up to a figure standing over him, and he tells him morning. The ninja helps Thomas up, and he tells him good morning. We are the death of the desert. Thomas tells him, yeah, I know who you are. There's only 5 of you. Do you think that's enough? The ninja tells him, you aren't a Batman. And Thomas punches him, telling him, I am now. Thomas continues to sing to himself, beating the ninjas until finally the last falls, and he carries on with his journey. Night falls, and Thomas stops to eat, listening to the crackle of the campfire. He eats his beans when suddenly Bruce's eyes open up and he shoots up, screaming, Bane! Thomas places his hand on Batman's shoulder, telling him, it's all right. You've been through a lot. Just remember what you've been taught. Batman turns back, swinging his tied-up arms, shouting, Bane! And Thomas grabs the punch, punching him back, telling him, it's okay. You can be scared. It just means that you have to fight that fear. Batman stumbles back and Thomas kneels down, telling him, look, it's over. You've been defeated, broken, body and soul, but that's behind you now. It's time to rebuild. We're going to show them how strong you really are. There's nothing to worry about. Father's got you. The sun begins to rise, and Thomas readies the horse, stating that he did his best to put the spine back together so that they could ride for now. Batman rubs his head, asking, where are we? And Thomas tells him, the Middle Sands, about 100 miles out from Kandaq. Batman scratches his head, wondering, why? And Thomas tells him, you're the world's greatest detective. When the drug wears off, you'll understand. Batman climbs onto the saddle, asking, what's in the coffin? And Thomas tells him, you'll understand that too. The two travel day and night, each morning Thomas fighting off another group of ninjas. And as they get closer and closer to their destination, one morning, Batman asks, those ninjas, those are Ra's al Ghul's personal guard. That means that we're going to the Name Pit. The only reason why Al Ghul would send the death would be to prevent people from ever going to the pit. Thomas laughs. You're getting it now. I'm so damn proud of you, my boy. Then it hits Batman. The coffin. It's his mother. They're dragging Martha Wayne. Thomas stops the horse and he turns back, telling him, we have come a long way. We've bled, we've burned, we've earned some rest. A right to go home. And when we do, we're going as a family. Batman stares for a moment and then asks, where is it? Thomas tells him the saddlebag, so Batman reaches down, putting on his mask. Once he's done fitting it, he says, I remember the blood, the pearls, knowing that I would never see you again. I forsook my life and surrendered to a vow. And now, What was it worth? Where did it get me?
Thomas tells him, you made your choices, and you saved who you could. You're a good man, and you made your father damn proud, Bruce. But now it's time for the resurrection, for the final end of our plan. The next morning, Batman helps fight off the next group of ninjas, and Thomas makes sure to leave one alive. As he takes up one of the horses, he readies it and asks Batman if he remembers the book that he used to read him back when he was younger, the one about the little animals. Batman stands up telling him, the animals in the pit. Thomas goes on telling him, yeah, it was a strange book, a horrific thing. All those friendly animals on their way to the church, but they all fall into the pit. They had little contests, meaningless things, but whoever loses, they ate. When there were only two left, one of them tricked the other into killing himself. And in the end, we never find out if that one animal got out of the hole. Never understood why you enjoyed that story so much, Bruce. Later that night, the two stop before the giant hole in the ground, and Thomas says, this is it. The pit. The demon's proudest secret, where you can trade one life for another. Batman gets off his horse, asking, how did Mother go in your world? How did it happen? Thomas tells him, she didn't die. Easily. But that's not important. We're here, and soon she will be as well. We will be a family once again. Thomas secures the ropes, and the two slowly climb down, carrying the coffin and the body of the ninja. As they reach the bottom, Thomas picks up the flare that he tossed down, stating, I needed you at a low point, to be broken. After Bane, after the nightmare, after her. We have a way out. You can have the love and the sympathy that you deserve. You can have back what we've lost. We can be a family, Bruce. We can live a life without the cape. Together. Batman pauses and then tells him, the reason I liked that book so much was because I idiotically thought that maybe it would change. I was waiting for someone to get out of the pit. I knew that it was impossible, but still, I couldn't give up the hope. And with that, Batman punches his father. They fight. They punch. They bleed. Two Batmen fighting for what they believe in, for hope! And as that struggle rages on, Batman throws Thomas into the coffin. As Thomas gets up, he notices the coffin is filled with stones, and he quietly says, no. When? Batman tells him, while you were sleeping. Mother is buried in the desert, and you will never find her. Thomas asks him why. And Batman says, I wasn't sure that I could best you, but I thought at least here, in this hole, I could hurt you enough that we both never would get out. Thomas runs at Batman, throwing a punch, but Batman hooks his arm underneath, landing one right into Thomas's face. He swings again, shouting, you're broken! We broke you! You can't be Batman! All you can be is my son! Morning arrives, and the horses neigh, shaking loose the sand from laying down on the ground. One of the horses walks forward as the line leading down tightens, and a hand reaches out of the pit. As the rain beats down in the city of Gotham, a cop car speeds through the streets as dispatch tells them that they have a 3773 at 2020 Spring apartment number 2. One of the officers responds to the dispatch stating that they are 6 minutes out. Let the commish know. The first officer asks the other if they got all that, and the Joker responds with, 2020 Spring, apartment 2, got it! Later, as the Joker and Riddler arrive on the scene, they look at the two bodies of Dr. Double X. Riddler says that they were both shot in the head, twice. Can't really help himself, huh? Joker looks in disgust, telling him, he never could. My guess is that if you looked hard enough, you'd find the damn coin. A few moments later, Riddler calls back to the commissioner, telling him that it's confirmed, but they have no clue what he is doing. The commissioner tells him that he appreciates the updates. They know what to do. Canvass and witness interviews ASAP, and if they kill anyone, he'll want their papers in the morning. Riddler asks, are you gonna light it up? And the commissioner says, yeah. He doesn't really have any other choice. The commissioner heads outside, turning on the bat signal. And just as always, Batman comes. Except, it's not Bruce Wayne. It's Thomas Wayne. Thomas goes back to the Batcave to go over the case, stating that the double had enough super strength to go up against Superman. Harvey couldn't have done this alone. He would have needed someone. The ventriloquist holds up a pot of coffee, asking, would you like some? And Thomas ignores his butler as he gets ready and leaves. Once Thomas is gone, the ventriloquist sits down and begins to hear a voice. And the voice tells him, you're just one of Batman's little servants. How adorable you are. Where's my cape? Where's my coffee? Where are my slippers? Such a pitiful waste of good skin and bones. If they has you, they have the world. Later in an abandoned warehouse, Harvey says as long as the numbers are right, and they are, everything will be good. There's 2 of him, and there are 2 of them. Amygdala says that sometimes that man worries him. And then Grundy shouts, "Solomon Grundy, bored on Monday." Just then the Batmobile crashes through a wall and Two-Face begins to yell, "No, no, no!" Inside the car, Thomas asks, "ETA?" And a woman tells him 7 seconds. Thomas springs out of the car telling the woman that she has 3. And as Solomon Grundy breaks the Batmobile in half, Thomas starts counting down 3. And when he says 1, Gotham Girl shoots through the wall, punching Solomon out. Gotham Girl looks back, seeing Amygdala coming at her, and she says that she's got a lot of drama in her life recently, and this isn't drama. She then picks up Amygdala, throwing him into the ground, and as he gets back up, he asks, "Is that all you got?" He charges at her and she dodges, telling him, "Well, I do have laser beam eyes. That's something else." Two-Face points a gun at the Harvey side of his head, shouting, "That's enough! If either of you move, Harvey gets it. I know you got orders, and I know you need me alive. This isn't your city, it's my city." Thomas pulls out a batarang, telling him, "The Joker told me a story once. The Joker held a gun to his own head, and he threatened to pull the trigger. And with that threat, he got the false Batman to do whatever he wanted. But that was the false Batman. He was a child. I am not." And with that, he throws a batarang into Harvey's eye. Later, as Two-Face's body is thrown on the ground, the commissioner looks at him, telling him he's dead. Thomas tells him, "No, I just severed some nerves, separated the sides of his brain. One side is damaged, the other is not. He wanted Two-Face alive, so here's Two-Face alive." Thomas then returns to the Batcave, and the ventriloquist asks, "Didn't you leave in a car earlier?" Thomas begins to change, not answering the question. And then he asks, "What's for dinner?" The ventriloquist tells him that it's all laid out. He cooked it himself, and their guest is there too. Back at the jail, Psycho Pirate walks into the interrogation room stating, "Hello, Two-Face, I am here to cure you." And back at the Wayne mansion, Thomas Wayne sits for dinner telling Alfred, "I apologize for being so late. Things have been busy." Alfred tells him, "I could imagine. In my experience, it normally is. Shall we?" Alfred then tells him that he knows that he will return, right? And Thomas tells him, "No, he won't. Not this time. And Gotham Girl's currently watching the city to make sure that none of your fancy friends come. Sorry to disappoint." Alfred stares. "No, Thomas. I'm sorry for what he's going to do to you when he returns." And so, it is another night in Gotham City, where the criminals patrol the streets protecting and serving the community. Well, not so much protecting. But all while this goes on, a small little drone comes to visit Bane, and Bane tells him, "I don't care about your multiverse. I have this city, something that no man has ever claimed." And Lex says, "I understand. This is your city after all. All can be doubted. All but Bane." But up above Gotham, Captain Atom tells Gotham Girl, "I have orders from the president that all superheroes are forbidden from entering Gotham. A lot of folks are listening, probably because they've never gotten an order before. However, I myself have gotten plenty, and I can tell a good one from a bad one." Gotham Girl tells him, "That's cool. Now get out." Captain Atom laughs, asking, "Do you know who I am?" She cracks him across the face, stating, "Not really, and honestly, I really don't care." But over at Arkham, the Tweedle brothers begin to make their escape with Scarecrow and Kite Man. Suddenly, one of the brothers is shot, and Kite Man yells, "We don't have time for this! We gotta move!" Thomas lowers his smoking gun, telling them, "Stay where you are. You're not going anywhere." Kite Man tells everyone to run, and the three jump out of the window. As Kite Man glides, holding Scarecrow and the other Tweedle, he says, "You're too much weight! We're not gonna get far like this!" Scarecrow holds at his arm, stating, "Basophobia, the fear of falling." A gas is sprayed into the remaining brother, and he screams. Kite Man then releases him, stating, "Oh, good grief." But back with Gotham Girl, she holds Captain Atom's body up in the air, stating, "I took care of our problem here. Should we give him the old pirate treatment?" And Thomas laughs. "No, that's not the deal. We negotiated. Just like last time, the villains go down, the heroes go out." Gotham Girl uses her strength and throws Captain Atom's lifeless body out of the city, stating, "And he's gone." Later, as Scarecrow looks around a room full of kites, he asks, "Is this safe?" And Kite Man tells him, "This is Kite Quarters. I built it myself. Of course it's not safe." When Batman comes, and he is coming, we're gonna turn out just like all the other villains. He's gonna torture us, enslave us, and use us for whatever he wants. Scarecrow then asks, "Are you scared?" And Kite Man shouts, "It's Batman! I'm Kite Man! Hell yeah, I'm scared!" Elsewhere, a
A defeated and broken Captain Atom tells Damian that he fought for his country against everyone. He fought with the League against everybody. That girl, he's never fought anything like her before. After that, he's arrested for going into Gotham. Lex Tech dampeners have his powers in check. However, Gotham is peaceful, and that's all they care about. Not who's running it or how, not the bad being done there. Just as long as they get to brag that the villains are gone. They should get out while they can. Doing good's criminal now. No one cares anymore. No one gives a damn. And back with Kite Man, he looks out the window telling Scarecrow, maybe there's hope out there. Maybe we can get through this. Maybe we can help him. Yeah, maybe. And that's when the glass shatters as a batarang is thrown into his chest. Thomas bursts through, kicking him with Scarecrow shouting, "Oh my!" Thomas stands up and looks right at him. "Easy or hard?" And Scarecrow tells him, "Very well. Hard, please." But later, on the outskirts of Gotham, Damian asks Tim if he's heard yet. He says, yeah, Gotham Girl downed the League in minutes. But the issue for her is that the more she uses her powers, the more that she loses. It will kill her eventually. Damian tells him, I don't care about her. I would deal with Superman if I needed. Tim says, right, fine. I don't care, but what about Alfred? Damian goes on telling him, that's not my problem. And Tim asks, is it though? If you go into the city, you violate the law. If you get caught, you know what he said. Any member of the Bat family found in Gotham means Alfred's dead. Damian then asks, since when do we care about what a villain says? Lightning strikes, and Tim shouts, since he came, since he hurt us, since he took over our city and broke our father. Damian grits his teeth, kicking a stack of bricks, and he falls silent. And after a few minutes, he says, I don't know what to do. We have to do something though, don't we? Later, Damian sets foot into Gotham, with Gotham Girl greeting him, stating, oh, hey, you know sneaking in here is useless, right? You're gonna get caught. She fires off her laser vision, forcing Damian to jump, and then she asks, you know I can hear everything, right? Super hearing? Did you hear? You probably should just stop. Damian lands, telling her, yeah, I heard. I just needed to get a little closer. The wand of Clarion can only be used once. Didn't want to miss. He holds up the wand and he simply says, set that into no. And just then, the magical chains shoot out from the ground, wrapping themselves around Gotham Girl. Damian tells her, I know how to deal with super people. Draw a circle on the ground, then a pointy star, chat with some demon, blah, 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 blah. Presto, you're done. Later, Detective Zsasz and Scarecrow stop a man walking his dog, telling him that the maximum allowed leash is 3 feet. Are you aware that you're using one longer than that? The man looks back and Zsasz goes on, telling him, you may not have heard of us. We used to torture people for fun, but now we do it mostly to enforce the city ordinances. Zsasz then punches the man down, stating that they will take care of the dog for him. Scarecrow might be a fair shot. She should die quickly. But before Scarecrow can pull the trigger, Damian drops down on top of him, with Zsasz pointing his gun, stating, oh, this is going to be fun. He fires off a few shots, stating that they should put a slash under his right eye, so that every time he looks in the mirror, he can remember. And Damian dodges the bullets, kicking Zsasz in the face, stating, you really should just shut up. A short while later, as Thomas looks over the city, he says, let's not make the same mistake. I'm not some silly villain or a bumbling police officer. I'm not a pretender to the throne, destined to fail. I'm Batman. Damian walks up. No, you're not. I know exactly who I'm dealing with. This is the man who let his wife become the Joker in his timeline. This is the man who let his whole universe collapse because of a button. This is the one who gave up Gotham to Bane. Thomas kneels down. Please. But before he can finish, Damian punches him, shouting, you are just pathetic! Thomas wipes the blood from his mouth, telling him, you must be my grandson, Damian. As the two begin to fight, Thomas asks, you've heard the cost of Bat family members coming into Gotham, right? The warning that you ignored? The promise that he made? Damian tells him, no, I heard. I just chose not to listen. Damian punches into Thomas, but Thomas responds back, hitting Damian. Damian falls to the ground. And Thomas asks, you understand what's about to happen right now, right? Because you defied the warning. As Damian gets back up, Thomas sighs and begins to stomp on Damian, telling him, you're stubborn, naive, you are your father's son. Soon after, Damian begins to wake up, feeling his arms tied behind him. He can hear a voice stating, please, no, and then another stating that he must understand his position in here. This was not my choice to make. The first voice then asks, please, 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 just not here. And the second says, I would have liked to have just sent you on with a solid beating. However, Damian opens his eyes to see who the voices belong to,
and he screams, "No!" And the first voice then asks, "Please, not in front of the boy." And the voice tells Damian,
This is not your city. This is not Batman's city. This is the city of Bane.
and that's when we hear a loud crack as Damian watches Bane snap Alfred's neck. Damian begins to cry, tears pouring down his face, asking, "How?" And Thomas kneels down telling him, "You would assume now that with Alfred gone, the rest of the family will come. But you're forgetting that we now have a new hostage. We have you. And perhaps it's good. Perhaps now they'll listen. Perhaps now they won't be as childish as you were." As the sun shines down on the crystal blue water, Catwoman asks, "How do you feel?" And Batman tells her that he's fine. Cat smiles, telling him that she likes how he lies, and the two pull their kayaks onto the beach. And Batman says that he's not sure what she wants him to say. He's fine. Everything's fine. As the two lay in the beach, Cat tells him okay. She believes him, but then Bat smiles, telling her that he likes how she lies. As the day goes on, Cat asks an important question. What are they? And Bat says that it doesn't matter. In a few days, according to the boys that she talked to on the mountain after the only thing that can defeat Bane is coming here. If they can take it, they can take back Gotham from Bane. He was hurt. He is training. And with her help, Bat is getting better. And he's going to be better. And that's all that matters. And as the night comes, the two go to their separate rooms. But as Cat lays down, she says that she can hear him awake over there. The walls are thin. And if he's awake, she's awake. So go to bed. Bat says that everything is fine, but Cat tells him no, he isn't. It's his breathing. It changes when he's sleeping. The tension that he builds up all day fades. It's nice to hear him letting go. He leans up telling her that it's just breathing. He doesn't do anything different when he sleeps. And Cat says that he does when he's with her. Now he needs to go to sleep. She's tired of worrying about him. Batman lays back down telling her that he's fine. Everything's fine. And Cat asks him if he ever gets tired of lying. So Batman says, yes, all the damn time. And the next day, the two go out into the forest to continue the training. But before jumping off the waterfall, Batman asks, "I thought cats were supposed to hate water." And she smiles, telling him it's about hitting the water, feeling it trying to drown you and enjoying that, knowing that you'll come back up. She leaps off into it, stating that she'll race him to the bottom. And as the two jump, they swim. And they come back up laughing. Cat swims over to Batman, pulling back the cowl. But before he can say anything, she tells him to shut up, just shut up. She moves her lips closer to Batman's, and she stops. No, it doesn't matter. So Batman pulls the cowl back over his face, telling her, yeah. And later, as the night sets, the two sit around a campfire, with Cat stating that she used to imagine them growing old together, and that they weren't all that different. They were still the bat and the cat, the lion and the knight, just older, and they had a daughter. And she was so much like him that it was almost annoying. Always sullen, trouble-making friends, forever trying to help anyone. At night, they would talk about the surreal old days, the Joker and the Penguin, and all the absurd rest of them, and then they'd laugh. They'd argue over whether it was a boat or the street. Where did they meet? But that day, when she jumped, the future died and she killed it. She thought it was fine. She was a hero. She did what heroes do. She sacrificed for the needs of others, and everyone needs Batman, and Batman can't be happy. She's here to help Bruce Wayne be happy, but she was convinced that if Bruce Wayne was happy, there would be no Batman. So she did what she had to do, and she jumped off the roof. She left him, and it was fine, but it wasn't fine, was it? He didn't just get over it, and neither did she. She kept seeing it. She tried to forget, but there it was, the two of them, holding each other. She spent so much time crying and even stupidly hoping that he'd... Sometimes she'd sit and wait. She'd wait for him to come out at night. But then she realized the problem. She wasn't a hero. Heroes don't wait like that. They don't cry like that. A hero would celebrate the victory. The world was saved. She wasn't a hero. She was a thief. So she waited and she wept. The wood logs crackle and Batman tells her, "I waited too, and I wept too." The next morning, the two go back to training and Cat tells him to throw the stupid batarang. And he does, but he says that it's not a good idea.
She snatches it out of the air, telling him that she is trying to get him stronger. He has to throw it like it's real. She's not a teenager out trying to steal her first purse. Throw it like you mean it, like this. And she throws the batarang back with force, forcing Batman to catch it inches from his face. And he says, "This isn't." But she stops him, yelling, "Throw it like you're angry. Pretend that you were this close to happiness, and I took it from you. Pretend I made a decision for the both of us. Pretend that I decided that you needed to be alone forever. That you could be Batman forever. Come on, Bruce. You have to feel the weight of it. What I did to you. Put that in there. It doesn't matter. I'll catch it. No matter how hard you throw it. With all that anger, I will always catch it." Batman grips the batarang and he drops it. "No, you weren't the one who did this to me. I was afraid. Afraid that I couldn't put anyone above the vow. That's why you left. You knew me. You knew my fear." She pushes him away, stating that he doesn't know a damn thing. And Batman tells her, "We were close and we didn't make it. And it broke me. But never in all that time did I blame you. You believed that I needed to be alone to be Batman. You believed this because I believed this. What if I had to be brought low to see that? That I had to die and awake to see it, to really see you, to see what if it's not true? What if maybe we don't live because of hurt? We live to fight the hurt." Cat tries to state that he doesn't know what he's talking about, but Batman tells her, "I'm not fine. Everything's not fine. My world is dust without you." So Batman picks Cat up and they kiss. And the next morning, Batman walks out onto the beach, seeing Cat sitting down, stating, "I didn't notice you leave." She smiles, telling him that she can be quiet. Batman sits down next to her, telling her, "You didn't need to do this, any of it." And she leans back into Batman, stating that according to the boys on the mountain, Magpie is selling her stolen venom here in a few days. They take it back, they take Gotham. They needed to do all of it. And later that day, the two sit at a bar listening to the news when a reporter mentions Gotham City, about how the seemingly endless crime waves have suddenly stopped, and only now that the criminals are running the streets. There's also reports of a sadistic Batman carrying out acts of violence on those unwilling to cooperate. Another man at the bar laughs. "Good. That place is a damn cesspool and somebody's finally doing something. Guess that Batman finally grew a pair." Cat tells the man, "Whereof one cannot speak, thereof one must be silent." The man reaches over, touching Cat's leg, stating, "Come on. What the hell do you know? You ever been to Gotham? I got a cousin in Gotham. He's special forces. Times are finally changing there." So Cat punches the guy out of his chair, telling him, "Yeah, she knows, and they're the ones changing them." As the sun sets, the two suit up, and Batman says, "Alfred signaled. He's safe. I'm sending Damian in." Cat sighs, telling him, "So we owe some to the Endless." And Batman looks at her, telling her, "I wish we could stay, just us here." She hugs him, stating that people are hurting, and he needs to fight. He needs her. So fight for them with her beside him, and she'll fight for them with him beside her. The two wait, and Batman tells Cat that he loves her. She tightens her grip, stating that she loves him too. And later, as Magpie's yacht sails by, Batman asks, "Are you ready?" And Cat tells him, quote, "Kite man, hell yeah." Once in position, the two board the ship, taking out the guards, and as Cat kicks Magpie to the ground, she tells her that it's over. They got the venom and the payment. But she is lucky that she gets to go back to Gotham. She says that she's going to guess that she's supposed to deliver a message to Bane. The Cat grabs the diamond necklace, ripping it from Magpie's neck, telling her, "Oh no, he's Batman, I'm Catwoman. We are the message." So the next morning, the two walk along the beach with Cat looking at the necklace, stating that this is a Connor diamond from the Gotham Museum. She's stolen it 4 times, and he's caught her stealing it 4 times. She tosses the diamond into the air, and Batman tells her that she can't keep it. She drags the guy out of the cold gutter, gives him hope and love. Set him up. Join him in the greatest fight of his life. And he won't even let her have an itty-bitty, teensy-weensy little diamond. As Batman snatches the diamond before Cat can catch it, she sighs, stating, "Apparently." She then walks off, asking, "Anyone told you that you're no fun?" And Batman stands there. "Thank you." The two look at each other for a moment, and Cat smiles, stating, "This is what love is. It's who takes care of you, and that's all it is to it." And Bat tells her that time, on the street, before the bat, even after when he wore the costume, he was not fully formed. He was not yet Batman. But when they saw each other again, later, on the boat, he had embraced the identity.
It was his truth meeting hers for the first time. So the truth is of whether or not they met on the street or the boat is both. And after what happened, maybe he's more than the bat, more than the vow. Maybe he's something. Maybe they can meet again, here, now. She hugs him, stating that they met on the beach. And Batman tells her, yes, we met on the beach. And after a few moments, Cat says, wait, we agreed? Holy crap. Bane is in trouble now.
As rain pours down on Gotham, a man walks through the streets. He turns the corner to go into an alleyway, and he's called out by Officers Pig and Two-Face, asking what does he think that he's doing. The man doesn't answer, and Two-Face asks, don't you know what city you're in? There's a curfew that passed a while ago. Guess that means we're gonna have to break some of those bones so you'll know not to do it again. Just as Two-Face reaches up, the man hits Pig and Two-Face in their throats, sending them to their knees. As the man catches Pig, Two-Face takes out his gun and he opens fire, so the man throws Pig into Two-Face. And as Two-Face gets back up, he grabs his gun asking, don't you know who runs this city? And the man finally speaks, telling him, yes, I do. Two-Face pulls the trigger 2 more times, and then he stops, realizing who he just shot. The man knocks the gun out of Two-Face's hand, and he punches, standing tall as the smoke leaves his chest from the bullets. He looks down, opening up his shirt, pulling the slugs off of the Batman symbol underneath, and he tosses them away. Batman may have lost Gotham City to his own father and to Bane. This may have become the city of Bane, but Batman is not going to stand by. Later, as the bat signal goes up, Hugo Strange, the new commissioner, tells Thomas that the Pig and Two-Face haven't checked in. It could be nothing, it could be something, but it's probably nothing knowing those two. Thomas Wayne looks out over his city, and after a brief pause, he simply says, he's here. Tell Bane. The commissioner takes off his glasses, cleaning them, telling him, no. He wouldn't. With what that man experienced, he was broken. He lost love. His own son was shot in the head. He lost his own surrogate father. No one comes back from that kind of loss. Soon after, Gotham's police force finds themselves under attack. First the Mad Hatter, then Kite Man. Hell yeah. Gotham Girl attempts to look for the intruders, but as she uses her powers, she begins to feel weak, and Thomas Wayne tells her that she should stop and go home. Without another dose, she needs the rest. Gotham Girl grabs onto Thomas's cape, asking, am I gonna die? Like Hank, my brother? Thomas tells her, no, but for what he's done to you, he will. While more and more villains are taken off the streets, Thomas Wayne focuses his attention on Gotham Girl's recovery. And as he tends to her, Wesker opens the door, telling him, I apologize, but there's a message from Thomas asks, what is it? And Wesker tells him, because of your unwanted presence and her inability to stop him, it is ordered that you kill the boy and display the body publicly. Thomas looks back at Gotham Girl and he gives her a kiss on the forehead before leaving. He then walks down into the Batcave where Damian Wayne hangs from the ceiling, a prisoner ever since he tried to come into the city and resolve this himself. Thomas Wayne takes out his gun and he holds it to Damian's mouth. But before Thomas could pull the trigger, his hand trembles and he says to himself, I can't, not to my family. Damian scoffs as he cuts the rope, telling him, we are not family. The butler was family. Father is family. But you and I, we're not family. Before Thomas has a chance to react, he swings around and the entire Bat family is surrounding him. Batwing hits Thomas in the side of the head while Tim Drake cracks him across the face. And Batgirl swings, followed by Batwoman. They tell Thomas that they had a debate while they waited, whether to tell Bruce what he'd done, to see what Bruce would do. They thought it would be the right thing, watching Bruce get angry. But then they thought, why let Bruce have all the fun? They have anger, they have pain, and he killed Alfred. Don't they get to do a little bleeding? They voted, and in the end, it came down to Orphan. They all looked at her for an answer. Should they let Bruce do it or just handle it themselves? And she looked up, and then she said, Alfred. Orphan slams her arm down into the back of Thomas's neck and continues to beat into him. As Thomas is gasping for air, Huntress stands over him with her crossbow, telling him they should just kill him. It'd be easier to deal with him if he had an arrow in his spine. Tim tells her, no, that's not the way. The way is, they offer him mercy. Damien says, yes, of course, and when Father says no to mercy, then we put an arrow in his spine. Thomas coughs up on blood, telling them, he made all of you, children, fighting for him, an addict spreading his poison, trying to make himself seem normal. What is wrong with my boy? Huntress says that she's had enough. This is for Alfred. The arrow is loosened, but Thomas catches it. He says, this is for my grandchildren. You ask for mercy, so you may have it. He takes the arrow and slams it into Tim's chest. Punch after punch, kick after kick, blow after blow. Even after sustaining all of his injuries, Thomas Wayne takes out the entire Bat family, and he wins. As the grandfather clock leading to the Bat Cave ticks, Thomas bursts through, calling to Wesker, telling him, I need some tea! Now! Wesker hurries into the dining room to pour a cup, and as Thomas sits down in his chair, he tells him, send a word to my boy, using their devices, that everything went well, that his father is gone. My boy's clever. I'm almost proud of him. To sacrifice his man, to get all of them, to surprise me. It was so clever. It almost, well, Bruce keeps forgetting. He is my boy. And I'm Batman. Meanwhile, over into Arkham, Bane sits on his throne thinking. He unties the laces to his mask and he tells Bruce, standing in front of him as Batman, we ought to do this without masks. Batman reaches back, taking off his cowl. No masks, no help. Bane looks over at Catwoman asking, and what about her? And Batman tells him, it's not her city, not her fight. You took my city, Bane. You orchestrated all of this. He throws the utility belt to the ground and then takes off his shirt. No help. Bane scoffs, pulling the tubes from his neck and hands, taking off his harness. No venom for him. No help. Bane gets ready to charge, yelling, I am! And Batman stops him, telling him, Bane, I get it, and I'm Batman! But there's one thing that you keep forgetting. She's Catwoman. As Bane gets ready to swing, there's a crack, and Catwoman's whip wraps around his arm. Before Bane has a chance to pull it off, Batman punches Bane to the ground, and Bane shouts, you said it was your fight! You said no help! Batman reaches for the batarangs taped to his back, telling him, yeah, well, I lied. The two lunge towards Bane, with Catwoman wrapping her whip around Bane's neck, while the two batarangs hit their marks on Bane's chest and cheek. Catwoman continues to pull Bane to the ground, telling him, and you said that this plan wouldn't work. Bane would be too smart to fall for that. Batman kicks Bane in the head, telling her, hey, I never said he was smart. As Bane tries to get back up, Batman says, the venom will kill you, but there's an antidote. Are we done here? Bane pulls at the whip around his neck, telling them, 17 years I was alone, forgotten. Every night the tide came in. Every night I pushed to the top, kicking, pushing. While the crabs, the leeches, they all clung to my body, cutting me. All I wanted was for it to stop. Stop kicking. Stop pushing. Stop. Stop. Stop! They drown me. Everyone drowns me. You drown me. And yet, I'm still here. So no, you pretty rich boy. Bane gets up, grabbing Batman by the neck, chucking him into the wall. Catwoman tries to control him with the whip, but Bane's strength overpowers her as he pulls on the whip, dragging her closer. She leaps up with her claws out, ripping away at Bane's face, asking, what's the matter? Can't speak? Cat's got your tongue? Bane leans back with it, launching Catwoman across the room, slamming her face into the wall. And then he shouts as he pulls the batarangs out. But before he can walk over to Catwoman, Batman charges into him from behind. Bane's head hits the concrete floor with a loud crack. And Batman picks his head back up, slamming it down, telling him, for everything that has happened, I could kill you! But death would only end your agony. So instead, I'm gonna break your damn back. Batman bends Bane over his knee, lifting him high into the air. But before he could bring him down, there's a gunshot.
Batman suddenly feels a sharp pain in his stomach as he calls out to his father. And as Thomas Wayne is standing there with a smoking gun, he says, "Son." The room fills with silence, and Thomas turns to Wesker, telling him, "We have come to the end. Fetch the pirate." Later, Batman slowly wakes up, seeing himself at a dining table in dim light. He looks at all the silverware and the plates, all nice and neat. And he looks forward across the table, his eyes widening, his jaw dropping. The person sitting across from him is the lifeless body of Alfred Pennyworth. He quickly scrambles across the table, calling out to him, but his cries, they're met with silence. He cries, holding his friend, his father, his mentor for what seems like an eternity. And when he can finally move, he unties Alfred from the chair and he picks him up, laying him on the couch. His eyes never leave Alfred as he takes off his cape and he drapes it over him. And the only question that Batman can think of is why? Why did this happen? And when he looks up, he finds his answer. Written in red across the wall, he reads the words, "You are not Batman." Batman stands back up, checking all of the doors in the room, each of them having been stacked with cinder blocks. He does the only thing that he knows, and he kicks, and he finds nothing. So he punches, and he finds nothing. And punch after punch, each with more fury and rage than the last. But as the bricks remain intact, all Batman can do is scream. With his anger and his frustration, Batman turns, and he begins to destroy the room. He flips the table, throws the vases. He rips down the portraits. Why must he go through this? Why did this have to happen? And as he falls to his knees, he looks up again at the words written in red. You are not Batman. He stands back up, and as he gets closer, he runs his fingers along the words. And he stares for a moment, and then he hangs his head. He reaches along the leather mask with tears rolling down his cheeks, and he takes it off. But he doesn't continue to cry. He turns his sorrow into determination, and that's when there's a loud explosion. He looks back, and Catwoman tells him, he says, "You're ready." So Batman gets up, following Catwoman without saying a word. He passes by Timothy and Barbara, Kate and Luke, Cassandra and Huntress, and then Damian, his son. He puts on his mask as he walks through the door, and across the room is Thomas Wayne, along with the pirate and Wesker. Thomas tells him what he's heard. He killed him. Is that enough? Are you finally finished with this Batman obsession? And Batman doesn't answer. So Thomas says, I have your family. I took your city, your woman. Is that enough? Will you finally stop? And Batman doesn't answer. So Thomas gets up on his chair shouting, "Is it done?" And Batman takes a moment to collect his thoughts. And then he simply tells him, "It's never done. There is no progress. Another year is another year. Yesterday becomes today as quickly as today becomes yesterday." His lips curl into a smile, and he finishes by telling him, "You will never stop, and neither will I. One more time, father, for Alfred." A punch is thrown and Batman falls to the ground. Thomas tells him, "Alfred is dead. Bane is broken. Take off that goddamn mask, marry the girl, and settle into a life of warmth and peace. Listen to a man, your own father, who chose this life, who suffered the consequences of being this horror. For once in your damn life, listen. Do what I should have done. Stay down, Bruce." However, to understand how Thomas Wayne became this, we have to look at things in reverse. It all began on a night when a vow was made. After Thomas read little Bruce's favorite bedtime story, he told him that he swears on the spirits of his parents to protect his life. He'll do so by spending the rest of his life warring against anything that might cause little Bruce pain. But he couldn't. You see, in Thomas's world, his origin wasn't that he and Martha were shot. His son Bruce was shot, and it sent Thomas down a spiraling path of vengeance. He swore that day to never let anything like that happen again, no matter the cost. And in Thomas's anger, he found Bruce's killer. He held him down and grabbed a large rock. Thomas told Mr. Chill that his son wanted to help people, maybe become a doctor like his old man. Before Chill could speak, that rock came down again and again and again, and it was the first time that Thomas took a life. However, it wasn't the only loss that Thomas felt in his lifetime.
Martha had a hard time dealing with Bruce's death and became the villain that Batman would fight over and over again. Martha Wayne, the Joker. And Martha killed Alfred. After that, Thomas wore the cowl and punished anyone who would do wrong in his city, and the cost was their life. First, he killed the Penguin, then Mr. Freeze, then Bane, then Riddler, and then finally, he approached Catwoman. He held the gun as she told him to do it. She has no family. No one will care if she's gone. Anything is better than nothing. And Thomas began to squeeze the trigger, but then he stopped. He told her his name and how he had a son about her age. And that was how the Bat and the Cat met in Thomas's world. The two of them would work together to take criminals down, and Catwoman would begin to see him as more of a father figure. But tragedy would once again strike in the form of the Joker, aka Martha Wayne, shooting Catwoman. Thomas would often go to Bruce's room to talk to him, but one night he had something important to tell him. He told Martha that their son was alive in another world, that he had seen him, and that he had become that world's Batman, and he had come to their universe with their Flash. And she laughed, and she killed herself. Thomas took another drink, stating that this world is useless. Useless to his son, useless to him, to Martha, to even Selina. And because of that, he was going to kill this universe. And what followed was the Flashpoint. Thomas was supposed to die, but he didn't. He fought the Reverse Flash and he won. And it didn't stop Eobard from coming back and giving him the ultimate revenge, putting him in a world where his son was alive and had become Batman. That was how Thomas Wayne got to this universe. When Thomas Wayne killed Reverse Flash, he didn't kill him. Reverse Flash is a paradox that cannot be killed, and to get revenge, he brought Thomas here to suffer. So Thomas watched from afar, seeing what kind of a life his son had had after taking up the mantle. And he hated it. He was disgusted by it, and he decided that he needed to put an end to this. He needed to stop Bruce from ruining his life any further, and that was when Thomas went to Bane. He was going to revive Martha Wayne in the Lazarus pits, and he was going to stop his son from becoming Batman, and they were going to live a happy and normal life. And that was how we came full circle. Back to when Batman stares in the eyes of his father, and he tells him one thing. For Alfred, and Batman steps forward as Thomas punches him. Standing face to face with his father from another world, he was just about to lose, until Catwoman saved him. She cracked her whip around Thomas's neck, pulling him back, kicking him. She tightens the grip and Thomas shouts, "You can't!" And Catwoman stomps on his head, telling him, "Oh honey, we just did." She crawls down telling him, "You did a good job leaving me here with the pirate and the ventriloquist. But the more powerful weapon is controlled by the only person you can't control, because no one controls Wesker except Scarface." She opens her hand, showing the eye of Scarface, and Scarface shouts, "Wesker! You two been nothing? I told you that she wasn't gonna give me back if I..." Catwoman goes on asking Thomas, "Where do you think the doll that Wesker spoke to has been this whole time? After Batman took him, ever think to ask what else I fetched from the memory on the mountain?" Thomas glares back at Wesker, yelling, "You!" And as Thomas lunges at him, Batman jumps in the way, knocking him to the ground. The two begin to wrestle, and Thomas looks up, telling him, "I pushed my good boy so hard, but you won't fall, will you? We're Waynes after all, and Waynes, we rise." Thomas pulls out a gun from beneath his shirt, holding it to Batman's head, and then he climbs up, pushing Batman to his knees, telling him, "You are a fool. This was your chance to be with her, to live without your mask, to live without pain. I showed you! You are not Batman!" Batman struggles, telling him, "After the alley, the pearls, I was just a child. I thought it was the end. I went to kill myself with a knife, but instead, I took a vow. I killed myself with the vow. I swear by the spirits of my parents to avenge their deaths by spending the rest of my life warring on all criminals. That's what I said. I live by that vow. I am the vow. I am Batman." And he takes a deep breath and continues telling him, "And I am no longer a child. Life is now a trap one makes when we are 10 and hurting. Life is a choice that we make every day. Every damn day. I chose her. I chose happiness. I chose family. And I chose Batman."
The cold gun is pulled away from Batman's cheek, and Thomas tells him, I killed the universe. I killed so many. Burned the city. Killed Alfred. All of you. Bruce, my boy, when will you finally listen to your father? Batman looks up at Thomas and he tells him, I listened, but right now it's time for you to understand something. And he punches Thomas with a hard right, and as Thomas falls to the ground, Batman tells him, you are not my father. And that was it. Time went on. Batman won again. The wrongs were righted. The things went back to normal as they could get for Batman. And later, as he took off the costume and stopped by a local sports bar to catch the Knights game on a big screen, the announcer stated that there was only 1 minute and 37 seconds left in the game, and it all comes down to Campbell. Campbell is 0 for 7 on fourth quarter comeback situations over the last 2 years. He's already had 2 interceptions and a fumble in this game alone. And Batman asks the man next to him if he thinks that Campbell can do it. And the man says nah, with Rios maybe, but Campbell no. The two watch as Campbell gets ready to throw a pass and he overshoots it by 5 yards. And the man laughs, ha ha ha, see? And Batman smiles back, telling him, yeah. The man introduces himself as Chuck Brown, and Batman tells him that his name is Bruce, and that he stopped by when he heard the game on the radio. Chuck says that he should have just stayed in the car. With Campbell in the lead, it's just pain and misery all the way down. So Bruce holds up his glass, telling him, here's to the Knights, here's to the pain, here's to the misery. Where would we be without any of it? Chuck picks up his glass and they toast, as he tells him, hell yeah. Chuck takes the drink, stating that it's the same thing every time. This Campbell, this is what he does. He gets set up and then he loses the ball over and over again. Just like everything, man, it's always the same story. And Bruce tells him, stories can change. People can change. Maybe Campbell has taken enough hits. Maybe he knows how to go down and how to come back up. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just enough. The ball snaps and the announcer calls out that there's 2 seconds left in the clock. The Knights need 6 to win. Campbell is in the shotgun. 5 receivers. It's a blitz! Oh! Campbell dodges his left. How did he get away from that? Campbell launches the ball long. He's got a man on the far corner. Raph and Colin both leap on him. I can't believe it! Oh my goodness! I can't believe it!
The crowd gathered beneath the statue of Alfred Pennyworth. The family stood behind him as Bruce cut the ribbon, finishing the dedication of the Alfred Pennyworth Children's Hospital. They all think it. Barbara, Rick, Damien, even Jason, who ignored Bruce telling him not to come, and he snuck past security. This isn't what should have brought them together. They listen to his speech. They hear Bruce's voice catch on every tear that he refuses to cry. He was always good with words when he would want to use them. And when night fell, the family took off, as were Alfred's final wishes. As the moon rose in the sky, our more familiar Bat family left to grieve, while other friends leaped among the rooftops. Catwoman, Batwoman, Orphan, and Signal were there. Gotham would be protected as it always was. Tim had found a spot, a sleazy corner of Gotham that even the villains had overlooked. He rented the place for the night, sweeping it clean of any bugs that might have been put in place. And as the door swings open, the family entered. This place is filthy, Damien comments as they stare around the dingy interior. You have no idea, Tim tells them. Be grateful you didn't have to scour the place for bugs. I saw things under the tables that I'm never going to unsee. Barbara looks at him asking if maybe it was overkill, but Tim disagrees. It's important that we talk freely, he tells her. They all saw him tonight, Bruce looking rougher than ever. Jason smiles at all of them from behind his sunglasses, ever the black sheep of the family. If we're gonna get right into the heavy stuff, I'm gonna need a drink, he tells them, motioning to the fully stocked bar with no one behind it. Rick leaps over the counter, offering the pour. What do you want? Jason, right? Right, you know, the old dick wouldn't have been so quick to serve me. Jason smiles at him. Rick just looks at him, letting him know that he was only here because he knows the butler took care of him when he was a kid. Anger shoots through Jason and he points at Rick. The butler? Really? Show some respect. Why did they even invite you? You're not even a part of this family anymore, he yells, with anger bubbling up within the rest of them, and Barbara yelling, pointing out that neither of them were even in the city when Alfred died. Jason turns on her. Don't give me that crap, Barbara. I was steering clear because Bane said that he'd kill Alfred if any of us entered the city. Not everybody listened, he yells, waving his hand at the dejected-looking Damien. Enough, Bruce tells them from the door, his voice quiet yet authoritative. This isn't what Alfred would have wanted. He crosses the room, sitting quietly at a table. The others don't quite know what to say, offering merely platitudes. Damien finally speaks up, asking for a glass of ginger ale from Rick.
the liquid fizzing as he holds it up. To Alfred, who kept me and Bruce from tearing each other apart from the beginning. The bar seems to fall away as Damian tells a story from years ago. They were standing in the cave, Batman standing angrily over them.
No night patrols for 2 weeks.
He finally snarls, turning and racing to the Batmobile. Anger was flashing through young Damian as he pauses as Alfred puts his hand on his shoulder. What you should do is empathize with your father instead of waging a war of wills that pushes you further apart. He tells him a dustpan in his hand. He ruffles the young boy's hair, telling him a time-honored rule of destroying equipment in the Batcave. You break it, you clean it, he tells him, walking up the stairs to the manor. Of course, Damian didn't listen, and later he moved through the streets of Gotham on his motorcycle. The night was quick, with Damian saving a bus full of hostages from the Mummy Gang. As he admired his work, Damian turned to see Batman in the shadows beckoning him over. But getting into the car, Damian was surprised to find it was actually Alfred beneath the cowl. My boy, you disobeyed a direct order from your father. Against my better judgment, I will not reveal this evening's excursion to Master Bruce, but you are indeed grounded for 2 weeks. He tells him as the car rumbles through the streets of Gotham. You're the best, Pennyworth, Damian told him. Yes, I know. The story ends and they all look at Damian at the bar, tears streaming down his face. He knows that they think that this was all his fault. He was the one who disobeyed the order. He was the one who broke into the city. You're right. I forced Bane's hand, the hand that snapped Alfred's neck. I can still hear it. He was a good man. He deserves more, he tells them, and finally he turns and walks out the door, telling them, don't follow me. Bruce doesn't move, not even looking up as his son leaves the room. Barbara begins to yell at him, telling him that Damian clearly doesn't know that he still belongs here. But Tim interrupts her, lifting his own glass. To Alfred, our secret agent man. The bar seems to fade again, and Tim is now the new Robin, having only worn the costume for a few months. Firefly buzzes over his head, tossing his shurikens. He brings the villain down to his level, tying him up with his electric bolo, and the GCPD arrives, flashing lights, forcing Tim to leap away before he can regain his equipment. He curses himself, having ignored one of Bruce's rules. Always be mindful of your tools and tradecraft. He never actually learned that Alfred had broken into the GCPD evidence locker, and then he woke up the next morning to find his equipment gift-wrapped for him. He stands before the family now, finishing his drink. He came into their lives when Bruce was at his lowest. He can do it again. Help out in the cave, move back into the manor. I just need you to ask for help. Otherwise, I don't know what good it'll do, Tim tells him. No, Tim, I'm not going to ask you to do that, Bruce tells him, and Tim nods, moving towards the door. He tells Bruce that he needs to fight through the demons, to bring the family together, to be the adult that they all need him to be. And another moment passes with Jason raising his glass. To Alfred, my favorite pain in the ass. Jason is sitting in his apartment, watching as Alfred puts down a bag of groceries that he knew the young man needed. As he has done numerous times, Alfred informed the man that he can always join them for dinner at the manor, but Jason knows that he isn't truly wanted at the manor, as the constant reminder of the son that Bruce couldn't control. Don't fit into the Wayne dynamic, never have, never will, Jason tells him. Alfred doesn't respond, instead holding up one of Jason's pistols. These will fail you in the end, he tells him, but Jason smiles, picking up the other one. These days my weapons are the only thing I can count on, he tells him. It was later that the Batmobile exploded through a wall, and a voice yelled over the speakers. Put your weapons down! Red Hood looks up from where he was tied to a pole, armed goons around him. I'd listen to him if I were you. The goons raise their weapons, and the Batmobile begins to fire non-lethal takedown charges, dropping them, and moments later, they drive away with Jason turning to Alfred, who was driving the Batmobile. Hell of a rescue, Al, he tells him. That's why you can always count on family, Alfred tells him as they rumble off into the night. And Jason finishes his drink. He refuses to blame Bruce for all of this like the others seem to be doing, but he knows that Bruce needs to fix things as well. You need to see how angry the rest of them are, and put that incredible brain to fixing it, or there won't be anything left to fix, he tells him, walking off into the night. Barbara now sits across from Bruce, and she tells him that he needs to understand what the city has gone through in the last year. Bane, evil Batman running around, and now they've lost Alfred. Each of us, we need Batman right now. We need the man that inspired us to be the best versions of ourselves. We need the best of you so that we can heal. Bruce doesn't say a word, anger rolling through Barbara again as she smashes the glasses off the table. But that anger passes, and then she finally opens her eyes looking at him. To Alfred, and how he was always able to find a way to celebrate something special about us. A car is moving through the woods, 3 hours outside of Gotham, and Barbara smiles from the passenger seat, blindfolded as Alfred still wouldn't tell her where they're going. Finally, they stop and Barbara looks up at Mount Cain. What are we doing here? She asks, surprised. Climbing, silly. Alfred tells her with a smile. Finally, they reach the summit just before dawn, and Barbara stares at the beauty of the sunrise, thanking Alfred. You're welcome, he tells her, pulling out a single cupcake with a candle. I've noticed as Batgirl you've been using your cycle instead of swinging in the city canyons every year at this time. To celebrate the anniversary of leaving the spine rehab center, look what you've accomplished after the doctors told you that you wouldn't be able to walk again. You're my hero, Barbara Gordon. The story ended and Barbara walks out of the bar, and Rick comes out from behind the counter offering Bruce a glass. I don't drink, Bruce tells him with a wave of his hand. I know, it's ginger ale, Rick tells him with a smile. Rick finally asks what story Dick Grayson would have told if he was there. There's no contest there, Bruce tells him. You see, it was a few years ago that Nightwing followed Alfred into the city, and he had noticed that the man was always sad on a specific day. He had watched as Alfred placed roses on the spot where the Waynes were murdered, whispering a prayer for them, and Dick leaped to the streets before he could pull away, smiling and waving. Hey, Alfred, I could go for a chocolate shake from Fina's. You? He asked, leaning into the window. It was later, looking out over the city as they finished their shakes, that Alfred finally told him. Today was the Waynes' wedding anniversary. I would rather celebrate their union and all the joy and good civic works they brought to Gotham, along with a baby boy who would do amazing things for his native city. Don't take this the wrong way, Alfred, but I feel like there's something else. And Alfred nods, looking at the ground. He reveals that Thomas had told him to take the week off and that the Waynes could drive themselves into the city that night. Alfred was at the manor, packing, when he heard the news and rushed down to the precinct to get Bruce. I took great pains to hide the guilt over not disobeying Thomas's plan that fateful night, Alfred tells him. Sitting across from Bruce, Rick nods, thinking that Dick Grayson sounded like a great guy. He feels that Dick would have been the one to help bring this family back together right now. You're right. You would have said the right thing to keep them from leaving, Bruce tells him, but sadly, Rick isn't that guy anymore. He tells Bruce that he knows that Alfred was a good man, that he spent his life keeping the family together, and he reaches into his pocket, pulling out a photo and pinning it to the wall amidst all of the other pictures that are cluttering it. You have a lot of hard work to fix everything that man built for you. To honor him right, Rick tells Bruce as he walks out the door. But before he leaves, he looks over his shoulder. You know, you never gave a toast to Alfred, the one that comes from the heart. But I guess Bruce sits alone at the bar, standing at the table, and finally he pushes away, standing and crossing the room. He reaches out, taking the photo that Rick had pinned to the wall, and as he stares at it, in this moment of silence, tears brim on his cheeks, and sadness overtakes him. The photo shows Alfred sitting in front of the Bat computer, the full costume family standing around him, the family that he loved. To Alfred, Bruce whispers.
Thank you for watching today's episode of Full Story, where we take stuff from Comicstorian and combine it into a giant video so that you can enjoy it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time right here.